completely different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside.
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hairloss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Cobrin's The Bald Truth.
Well, welcome, Joseph W. Tillman. How are you, man?
I am doing well, if not shocked and dismayed at developments today. It's a crazy, crazy Friday. And my God, there are some crazy people in this world.
Well, listen, we're in the hair loss industry. We know the reality of it and all of the insanity that's going on. Have you seen the images from this year's ISHRS conference in Delhi?
Yes, I have, and it looks like they're having an embarrassingly odd time there.
They're having a wonderful time. You know what's funny?
Oh, that's what I meant. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A couple of our viewers contacted me, one through Instagram, to send me some of their Instagram posts, and this guy's like, with the hand on his face emoji and all that stuff, and I'm just like, well, what do you think happens at these things? This is what it is.
Yeah.
Ricardo's doing the twist to some Indian music. The whole thing is awesome. I mean, that's what it is. It's a bunch of physicians who kind of use this excuse to hang out and party and travel the world and have a conference, in quotes. And I will tell you this though. I admire the hell out of this chick Victoria, because she has been able to really just, not only does she own the entire thing and control the entire thing, the doctors don't even know it.
Well, what's great about it is there's this illusion of control because of the board of governors that's been created.
Yeah,
they really have no say in things. She's the one that controls all of it.
It's brilliant. I have to tell you, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It is. Good for her.
I mean, she's the director. She's the director of the organization.
I like her, admire her. Yeah.
She's the director of the organization, and the company that the organization hired to do all the administrative work is her company.
Yeah.
It's fucking fantastic, man.
I like the woman.
Hats off,
she's
Victoria. Oh, she's no dummy. I can tell you that.
No.
I mean, she's not in love with me, and as far as what I do, and she wasn't thrilled with the Global Hair Loss Summit. And when she took over the American Academy of Cosmetic Surgery, her first move was to ensure that we remove their seal from Global Hair Loss Summit. But whatever, whatever.
And it's things that actually have
meaningless.
It makes no difference what she does. Yeah, it's meaningless completely.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. Apologies for starting the program so late. Joe's MIA. I was actually really worried. I had no idea what was going on with him. I understood that he had a Mexican lunch, so there may have been problems.
It was actually an Italian lunch. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, I haven't even eaten yet today. That's how busy I've been all day.
And I was in between destinations stuffing a slice down my throat while I'm trying to be on the phone, listening to a patient tell me how his drunk doctor was telling him how bad his hair transplant was from another doctor. That was crazy. And
why is that crazy?
Trying to get here in time.
That is the status quo of the shit that goes on in this field.
I wouldn't say status quo.
All right,
That's
it's
pretty
a status quo from this one particular surgeon in air quotes.
There you go. There you go.
For the last 20 some odd years.
Yeah. At least. Yeah. That I will agree with.
I'll get you, Tillman.
Damn you, Cobran.
Guys, call in toll-free number 888-659-3727. This is the Hair Loss Show. No, FSK, I didn't just get off the farm, but thank you for commenting on my lovely shirt. I appreciate that.
Green Acres is the place for me.
I like the way that it kind of
life for me.
It melds into. That's really you're dating yourself. I like the way that it melds into the background here at the studio. It
really does.
Studio phone.
It's like you're wearing the wall.
Yeah, yeah. They're like drapes. It's like I'm wearing drapes. Guys, the phone number 888-659-3727. Listen, it's a call-in show. We do the show live. I know Joseph W. Tillman was late, but we're still here to answer all your questions. For everyone who's constantly contacting me through Instagram now, and don't think I don't appreciate that more people are starting to notice that I'm taking the time to put up content, that it's actually maybe, they're getting some truth in this insane world of social media. I do appreciate it, but I can't answer every specific detailed question through DMs. I can't do it. This is what this live broadcast is about. You can actually call this show at 888-659-3727. And instead of getting a 3-word or 1-paragraph response, we could spend 10 minutes talking to you or more. Get a detailed answer to all of your questions and concerns about anything that's on your mind. If you're considering hair transplant surgery, and a lot of you guys are, this is the place to call. I could maybe spend a couple of minutes and answer a very specific, quick question for somebody. A, that doesn't help everybody else. And B, when I've done that, all of a sudden, I get 50 more questions from the same person. Can't open the door. I can't open that door. It's not that I don't want to, but we have a unique platform to facilitate the ability for people to have their personal questions answered. That doesn't exist anywhere else. You got these health influencers, and this is what I wanted to talk about a little bit today.
Yeah.
Who put out their content, they sell their products, they have millions of followers, and they may spend a second answering a couple of comments in the comment section to keep their engagement going. But they're not giving you a platform in general to pick up the phone and call them. They may have a podcast. They may interview people. Everything is very, tailored and controlled, And that's fine. It's easier that way, and I understand that. And honestly, as far as visibility, views, and all that stuff, we'd probably get a hell of a lot more if we didn't do the live stream. I look at guys who have 200,000 followers on YouTube. They put up a live stream and they have 30 people in the room, 50 people in the room. So if you compare that number of followers to what you have, Joseph W. Tillman, the live stream is pretty impressive.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking about this very issue yesterday when I saw that someone I'm subscribed to outside of our niche. He's I don't even know what his market or his niche would be. I guess entertainment, because he's funnier than hell. He's got like 2 million subscribers, and he was doing a live stream, and he had like 86 people.
Yeah,
and I was like, huh? And I know that his subscribers are legit too. He's been around for like 15 years.
I see these guys who go live all the time, and I look at it and I'm like, what? Are you telling me that Joseph has more live people in his room than Paul Saladino or whoever?
Yeah.
All right, speaking of Paul, listen, I say this all the time. I always preface this, and this is why I wanted to bring this up. I do believe that if anyone who follows Paul Saladino, MD's, the carnivore MD's basic tenets is going to live a healthier life. But Jesus Christ, Paul. For the love of Pete. Putting out content about hair loss that is, I mean, you know, you're a doctor. I know you're a psychiatrist. You went to medical school. And all of the other tenets of your lifestyle make, you know, they make sense. People are going to have a healthier life if they decide to eat whole foods, mostly animal-based in my view as well. They're going to generally have a healthier life. But to come out and blatantly say that these foods stop hair loss.
It's such horseshit.
I mean, come on. I know, you know, I had a brief conversation with this guy in a supermarket. And I mean brief, to the point where first we spoke a little bit, introduced myself. We kind of stared at each other for a second. I'm not sure if he knew who the fuck I was, or if he just thought I was cute. I don't know what it is. But something stopped. And
his heart.
Yeah. And so I introduced myself, and then he kind of walked away, and then he came back to me and started to, you know, with interest about what I did. And then during that, trying to have this conversation with this guy, there are people trying to get selfies with him. He's famous. He's a famous guy. And then having conversations, whatever it is. So we weren't able to have a full discussion. He asked me for my contact information. Said he wanted to speak to me. I said, sure. I said, here's my Instagram handle. And he actually wrote it down, you know, with his thumbs on his phone. But during that brief conversation, it was apparent that he had very limited knowledge of the hair loss space and what really works. He actually asked me what works and what doesn't. And then he asked me what my thoughts were on the Huberman podcast when Huberman was talking about hair loss and caffeine and all the happy horseshit that everyone talks about. And I told him I was a little disappointed, but I also understand that that's not his wheelhouse. And he probably has a production staff that provides him with these studies and quotes and all this information. And, you know, these guys are content machines. And when he asked me what actually worked, and I happened to mention, you know, finasteride, topical, you know, minoxidil, oral minoxidil, all that stuff. The first thing out of his mouth was, well, I mean, what about post-finasteride syndrome? And I'm like, you're a doctor. You know, I mean, I was a little bit more subdued, I would say, than that. But I tried to explain the reality of it, and it kind of went in one ear and out the other, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, it was a very nice conversation. He was a very nice guy. He chose not to reach out, and that's fine. But did he choose not to reach out because he didn't want to hear the truth? He's just putting his fingers in his ears because he knows, or he had a plan that he was going to go out there and start preaching what he would call, if he was looking at any other industry, he would call it out as bullshit. That's what he does. He would call bullshit on what he's saying if it was from some other field or if it was somebody else. So I don't know if it's being done purposefully or if it's just, if he really believes, you know, that, you know, putting up this information that are supposed to look like studies, but they're actually, I mean, the one study that he put up on if you go to my Instagram, you'll see his reel. I did a remix. The one study that he put up today was essentially, you know, if anyone understands the hair loss industry, there are products that are out there that are able to get studies. You know, basically you hire a few doctors, or so they can say there's no conflict of interest. There are ways to make that happen, and you have a product tested in their clinic, and then a paper is written, and it's usually published in a kind of a questionable publication. Publications need as much content as possible. They make money from advertising, so on and so forth. So just because something is published doesn't mean that it's actually legitimate. So this was a study based around a product that you can find anywhere. It's a topical preparation that anyone in the hair loss industry knows probably doesn't do much, but whatever. And he's using that and extrapolating the information from that study to make a claim that these foods stop hair loss. Whether it's from androgenetic alopecia, male and female pattern hair loss, or from autoimmune triggered hair loss. Now, with that said, I think it's possible that, for certain inflammatory and autoimmune type hair loss, diet can play a major role. Mm-hmm. So I think that's fair. But the way it was presented, in my view, Paul, complete bullshit. And if you're watching this, and I'm sure you're not, but if someone sends this to him, I'd love to talk about it. I'm not adversarial. I mean, I think you're a nice guy, and I do believe that, again, what you preach for the most part is you're helping people. I live that lifestyle now more than ever. I mean, as I'm getting older. I mean, for a while there, I was, enjoying the booze a little bit more than I probably should have with the food and, living the high life, and it was all bloated and, 230 pounds. But whatever, that's the past. But I do believe in what he preaches. But when you cross over into this sphere, my man, and everybody else, I mean, people are going to call bullshit. And
like
sadly, people are so vulnerable that they're going to fall for this. Now, again, if they just decide to eat his diet, they're going to be better off anyway. And if they think it's going to help with their hair and they do it, they're going to end up having a better life. So for that fact, I think it's not all negative. But he's also selling supplements that are geared towards better hair, skin, nails, etc., etc., etc.,
etc.
So anyway, the one thing I don't do when I talk about these guys, I don't want to dehumanize them like everyone else on the fucking internet does. It happens to me all the time. I got one guy tells me I have beautiful hair, and then the next comment, I have the worst wig in the world. It looks like all I need is a chin strap.
Here we go.
Yeah. So it's like I don't want to dehumanize anyone, and I'm not trying to dehumanize Paul Saladino. He's a guy with a life, and I think he's married, and I don't know if he's got children or not, and he's got if he has a family, and he's been exceptionally successful. Mm-hmm. I admire that. So just take this in the spirit that it's meant. What you're preaching when it comes to hair loss is mostly bullshit. And if you can prove differently, then show me. And if you can, I'd be the first to preach it.
Yeah.
I'd be able to get it out through Dermatology Times. I'd be able to get it out through the American Hair Loss Association. I'd be able to get it out through the mainstream media. You'll sell more of your products.
A hell of a lot more.
I don't want any money. Show me the data, and I'll promote it. I know I have 11,500 followers on Instagram, but I'm a behind-the-scenes type of a guy. So the information that we provide to these legit resources that go beyond Instagram and Facebook and all social media could really benefit you, Paul, if you can prove this to me. So I'm open to it. Give me a call. You got my number.
I like that.
Anyway, phone number is 888-659-3727. No calls. I'm going home. Joe, thank you for showing up.
Thanks for being here.
All right. Good night, guys. Nothing.
No,
I'm not going to vamp. I'm not going to sit here and vamp. If the phones don't ring, I'm out.
You gave no warning. You got to give him a few minutes. Give him a countdown. 2 minutes. We'll get any calls in 2 minutes, then we'll go.
All right.
Starting now. What else is new?
Let's see.
Movember, guys. Growing out the mustache. Day 3. Getting some length on here. Because I shaved everything off. I've been keeping it baby butt smooth for the past, 3-4 weeks now? And I'm bringing it back for Movember just with the stash. I'm thinking a little bit further down. Maybe even a Fu Manchu, but not the full beard, at least not yet. What do you guys think? Tell me in the chat room. Tell me in comments.
I don't think anybody really gives a shit, Joseph.
You're not supposed to say that. You're not. That's a hook to get people to actually fucking interact with us for a change.
We do actually have a call, but yeah, I just never shaved mine off.
Okay. Well, I know.
I just kind of keep it all going. Sometimes it's a little longer. Sometimes it's more attached than others. Sometimes I may cut the beard a little shorter. Shows a little bit more of the cleft, which is starting to disappear now that the darkness it's turning all white.
I know, right? That's the problem. My sideburns. But I'm thinking about doing a Danny Trejo, like bring the things down here. What do you think?
I'll give it a shot, man.
We'll see.
888-659-3727. Yeah, I mean, throughout my life, you can kind of always see that dent going in the chin, and apparently that's a good thing. But as it's all turning more white, that's starting to disappear a little bit. So if I want to maintain that appearance, I'm going to have to shave it a little shorter. Here's the good thing about having a beard or a goatee or a round beard, whatever you want to call it. You have the option to take 5 years off your age in seconds if you choose to. It's kind of like TRT. I'm waiting to the last minute to get on the juice. The very last minute.
And the last minute was when?
Oh, snap. Let's see who this is.
Snap.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this? Where are you calling from? Hey, caller.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey, this is Gypsy from L.A.
Gypsy from L.A. How are you, man?
Hello, Gypsy.
I'm doing good. I saw that you guys weren't getting any calls, so I always leave with that. I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot, dude. We won't be able to use this clip now on social media.
Yeah, I was feeling sorry for you guys, so I thought I'd give you some charity.
Yeah. You guys are such losers. I figured I'd give you a call.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody was calling in the first half hour when the show was supposed to start, and then they decided to go home.
Well, I appreciate it. It's very kind of you.
I understand.
So what's happening, my man?
Well, good to hear you guys on today's topic and some other things. I don't think you can trust anybody. Well, and that's a credential, you can trust anybody because, everybody has a perspective. You have your own bias. I don't think you can even trust yourself. So that's why you got to do your, like you guys always say, your due diligence and double check everything.
When you say you can't trust anybody, do you mean people that you see online? Do you mean like your neighbor, your doctor?
Your dog.
Your wife. I mean, you name it. Well, look, no. Give everybody the benefit of the doubt, but you have to do your due diligence, and that's with anything in life, Because if there was such a thing as this utopian trust, then we wouldn't need lawyers and we wouldn't need contracts, right? I know I'm being a little extreme, but
no, you're not actually. The reason why contracts for anything are so long is because all that shit happened to people.
Yeah. The typical, you're courting each other, you're dating, and it could be anything, a business relationship or whatever, and once you're hooked, the real personality comes out, or you start learning about those little quirks and things, or the biases, or So I think that if you try to educate yourself, if you try to do your due diligence, like you guys always say, then you'll be in a better position to make a decision. I remember when I was in the university and I was going through the philosophy class, right, critical thinking. And the main reason why they try to make you go through that is because they say, well, everybody's going to sell you some story, some argument, some claim, and it's your job to learn these tools and break that down and to see who is feeding you BS and who's not, and make your own decision based on, go and do the research.
You know, what's interesting is that critical thinking is really, in general, is a lost art, and it's getting more difficult for people to critically think because of the internet. You know, we're bombarded with so much information so quickly, and especially when you're dealing with something that is so emotionally charged like hair loss, we want to believe. As bad as it was when I was young, reading all the ads and seeing the infomercials and the commercials, I can't even imagine what it would be like to be bombarded by so much intel and information that you think it's intel because it seems like it's coming directly to your phone, and you're maybe you're part of a Reddit group, or you're part of a or a Facebook group, and you think that this information that's being shared is from knowledgeable people. And the truth is, you don't know where the fuck it's coming from.
Well, you know what? All industries in the planet spend lots of money on these consultants, on psychologists who do all these studies and research on how to tap into people's emotions. When I used to do sales training, we always told the salespeople, it's like, learn the data, learn the facts, present them well, but you're going to sell an emotion, and you got to tap on that. You got to tap on the emotional side. People buy on emotion.
Are you sure you're not selling hair transplant robots?
I am not. I probably should. But
actually, that ship has sailed. But yeah, there was a time when you probably should have.
Yeah.
Because that really, you're dealing with. You're also, it's funny because we had undercover tech for a while that would, do some segments with me, and the one thing that she made very clear is when she goes into a doctor's office who just bought one of these machines, especially the really expensive ones like the robot, they were sold, at least according to her, and I could see this view, they were sold a lie. They were told that this is a cutting-edge device that will not only help patients, but it'll give them access to, something that will bring patients in the door, and they can make a lot of money doing this surgery, and they don't really need to know much to get involved. They just need to hire the right technicians and learn the basics of learning how to work the parameters of this device. And that it was all legal and, this and that because, the robot is actually doing the extraction. So there's no humans that are touching the scalp. So you can have a technician running it who knows what they're doing or whatever it is. And sadly, while I do believe that, the robot definitely it was getting some legs for a while, and it was improving. And there are like 5 doctors maybe that know how to use it correctly. Maybe more, maybe less, whatever. But in general, there's a lot of damage that's been done that continues to be done. And what physicians who are investing a lot of money into this are finding out, unfortunately, is patients have been coming back because with bad results, very unhappy, which is affecting the reputations of their practices based on lies that were sold to them by these device manufacturers. So everyone could be, we're all human beings. Just because a doctor is doing something, you have to realize they've been sold a bill of goods themselves.
Yeah, well, I think everybody does that. Well, we all do it up to a point, I even told one of my clients recently, I said, look, we were talking about, disclosure and good faith and all that stuff. And I said, look, my services is to help you. But to tell you the truth, the end goal for me is to get money out of you and long-term business. I'm going to be honest. The way I do that is by providing a good service. But whatever I tell you, go double check it.
Yeah. That's very honest of you.
Be wrong.
And that's also another great sales tactic.
Well, I know that. So Related to that,
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say related to that, but not related to that. I actually had a long conversation with, well, not long, but half an hour, conversation with my primary doctor, my provider, Okay. And Joe is a little bit more familiar with this story because I've talked about it for a few times on the main event.
Fucking main event.
I heard that show. I heard that show got canceled, by the way.
No, it's not canceled until I actually put up an overlay saying canceled, or not renewed for a new season. But no, that's not the case. It'll come back when I have time.
I thought it was suffering from the writer's strike or something.
But,
that's it. That's it. That's what I'm going with. The actor strike.
Right. Yeah. So I talked to my doctor, and he's a pretty young guy. And I wanted to talk to him on getting on brand, Proscar, and the oral minoxidil. So we spent like about a half an hour talking, and young guy, he asked me a bunch of questions, and he said, "Well, it seems like you've done your research. It seems like you're knowledgeable about that." And he's like, "Look, I'm familiar with the medications, and I've actually have prescribed to some of my patients to help them with the hair loss." He had no problem getting me on the meds, so he actually sent the prescriptions today. They're already waiting for me at the pharmacy. Yeah, and I think he even managed to collect the finasteride on the insurance. So kudos to him.
Nice.
I did mention you guys, and I said, well, look, the reason why I am a little bit more aware of, and prepared is because I listen to these two guys, that do a wonderful job. And I did bring up the post-finasteride syndrome. I know you guys mentioned it earlier, and he wasn't familiar with that. But when I explained it to him, he was like, yeah, that sounds like BS.
Well, it's interesting. There's two schools of thought. There's the guys who they may have experienced it in their practice because the patients that walked in were, they read about it, they were concerned about it, and they suffered from it, whether it's like a nocebo effect, it's possible. Or there will be some people who have, they're really affected by it, and doctors have seen it in their practice. But I can tell you that if you actually speak to 9 out of 10 physicians who prescribe the drug on a regular basis, they're going to tell you they're not seeing it in their practice. Now, that's not necessarily going to last because I do think the incidence of it's even on the rise even more now because more guys are getting on finasteride, more guys are going to keeps and hims, and they're reading more about it. And also just based on the pure numbers, the pure volume of people using it now, I think prescriptions went up like 400% in the last year because of these subscription companies. So, he may hear about it once in a while. But it's interesting. That's a pretty normal reaction for most doctors.
Yeah, he did say, well, he said, even if you have, some side effects or the side effects and that, it's like, eventually they should wear out, according to what I know how these medications work. So he wasn't, it didn't make sense to him how this post-finasteride syndrome was out there.
For most people who suffer the side effects, they are transient. That's just the reality. But a lot of people will have them and then panic and not realize their body has to adjust.
Mm-hmm.
But, also considering, what we were talking about, sales and who you can trust and all that stuff, I know that some lawyers got really excited about that, and so it's in their best interest to get this alive. So,
well, look, the ambulance chasers are always out, man. I mean, shit's what's the latest one? I just saw one. It's not Camp Lejeune. That's a real one, but there's something else I saw recently.
Aren't they also making an issue with Ozempic now or something like that?
It's funny. This is really interesting. So I wrote an article for Dermatology Times about hair loss and Ozempic. And now, hold on. Really? And now I'm seeing the article cited and linked to on attorneys' websites.
Oh, okay.
And I'm thinking, motherfuckers, it's unbelievable. So, look.
Are you a shareholder of that business?
No, actually, I kind of wish I was. But, you know, I should contact these attorneys and say, look, man, I want a piece. I want a piece of the action, bro. Listen, all of these drugs, anytime you're affecting the hormones, and if you're losing a massive amount of weight, you can lose hair. But there is absolutely a correlation between hair loss and these drugs. But for some people, once that telogen effluvium is triggered, it could lead to early onset male or female pattern hair loss. That's what we're starting to see. So I just happened to write a warning from the American Hair Loss Association about this potential and to talk to their doctor. And also, I just want patients who are going to use this drug to be aware that if you have a family history, a strong family history of male or female pattern hair loss, that should be part of the equation before starting to take this drug. That was it. These lawyers ran with that shit, man.
Well, do you blame them?
You know, you'd use it too, right? You'd leverage that shit from the American Hair Loss Association. It's something that's published in Dermatology Times. I get it. But it's just kind of like, I mean, it's not that it's incredibly prevalent. It's prevalent. But it's not like you can, just because we provide a warning doesn't mean that you can leverage this for like a ambulance chasing lawsuit.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. What am I going to do? I'm out there.
Yeah,
right?
but, you know, it's also worth to mention that my doctor, even though he's just like a regular medical doctor and everything, when I mentioned that what you guys advocate that, you know, hair loss is, hair transplant is the last resort.
Yeah.
Without even explaining anything to him, he said, yeah, it should be. He says it should be. That should be like your last option. It's like, it's just like, you know, injuring your knee or your hip or anything like that. It's like you should try every single therapy or medication before you actually cut someone open and do the surgery.
Absolutely. But and you know, he's speaking like a real physician, but you know, the reality is it's sold as a commodity. People don't understand that this is real surgery, even though you're not cutting open someone's organ. I mean, you are manipulating live, you know, miniature, you know, organs, your hair follicles. But that's not really explained to people. People just think it's like, hey, you go in, it's like getting some sort of a thread lift or whatever the hell they're selling nowadays, and you're done. No one explains it. Well, listen, man, always appreciate the call. Thank you for saving our ass today. And you prompted some.
My pleasure.
You prompted some.
Thank you for the charity.
Yeah, no, you're always you're a great caller, man, and I always appreciate you know, the fact that not only you appreciate the program, but you always bring something interesting to the table. This is a good story for people to know that they can go to the regular, you know, GP or internist who's reasonable to get these prescriptions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
All right, brother.
I agree. I
go ahead.
I agree, and keep up the good work, and you know, I'll let you guys go so that other callers, you know, can get the privilege.
Hey, look, if no one else calls in, call back. All right? I'm just kidding. All right, brother.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, man. Take care.
You're welcome.
All right, bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
The phone number is 888-659-3727. We are live. The number's toll free, of course. Which means I pay for it. I pay for you guys to call in. I have for a long time. Let's see who this
Speaking
is.
of charity.
Yeah. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Alex from San Diego.
Alex, what's happening, man?
Hey, Alex, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I am glad October's over, so I don't see so many sponsored ads for a spooky hair transplant.
That is so... Did you see that on my Instagram? Or because it's everywhere. I can't even believe it.
Oh yeah, it's like, especially when I look through people's stories, it's every other one is this Halloween-themed pumpkins on it FUE special.
Yeah. And you know what? You are going to get a spooky hair transplant. They're not lying. It's not false advertising.
What they're doing is they're setting you up for your costume for next year.
Right. It's conspiracy from the costume company.
Whoop, there we go.
We get it. We get it, Joe. We get it.
I was looking for this. No. There we go. That's what I was looking for.
Got it.
Any hoot.
Caller, you still
What's
there?
going on?
Fucking guy. The guy hung up.
No, he didn't.
No, I would never. More sound bites, please, though, on the show. That's extremely epic, I got to say.
We can make it happen.
Right on.
But yeah, so anyway, basically this whole year since January, I've been considering surgery, really kind of digging into this whole hair loss thing for myself, which I've kind of just been pushing under the rug for the last 10 years, and wearing a lot of hats and using a lot of Topic in the hairline and that kind of thing. And it's gotten me by, but this year I've really tried to confront it and really try and focus on making a decision that will move me forward. And so part of that process was I shaved my head this year for the third time.
I think I remember you telling me that.
Yeah. And I really got to recommend that, especially if someone's considering surgery, to really try that first, and not only try it, but go into it with an open mind, because a lot of times believing is seeing, as someone put once. So, not just going into it.
I think that's incredible. That's incredible advice. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it's something that we've talked about forever. Like, all right, I'm actually of the belief that okay, if you can't deal with shaving your head, then try a hair system. Try that before you have surgery. See if you can live with that. You never know. You may love it, especially if you learn how to finesse it. That could really change your life. But surgery is always a last resort. That's it. People don't fully comprehend that. They think that, like, I want, as a caller, really think about it. What's in it for us to tell you that? There's nothing in it for us.
Right.
No,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So anyway, I think I didn't mean to throw you off there, but I think it's absolutely good advice. If you can shave your head and deal with it, then you win.
Yeah, I will say that when I did it the first time, it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. Like, I was just like, oh, of course, I was freaking out way too much about it. It looks fine. And I really recommend, especially for the younger guys, to give it a shot. But I guess the hard part is really owning it, because you don't really know what it's going to be like until you are truly confident with it, if that makes sense. So if you feel like
it makes a lot of sense. And I just want to jump in and tell you that I was actually talking to a friend of mine that lives in the area I moved into 2 years ago. We became friends since I moved here. He's a neighbor. We walk our dogs together. And he was telling me that he started shaving his head, first off, because of the show. Thank you very much. And he's glad that he did, because now he understands that while his hair as it is now is much more manageable when it's short, he knows that he definitely wants to get a hair transplant in the future when he's in a better position to do so. It allows people to take options off the table that have no long-term consequences if they decide they don't like it. And in fact, what he wound up doing is he started a business where he's moving this product that helps guys shave their head at home, or at least cut their hair, without having to go to a barber. It's this really unique device that he's been pushing, and he's trying to make a living like this, all from shaving his head, which I think is amazing. Like, the opportunities that people come up with because of circumstances they find themselves in, but being able to do that, to find peace, even if it's just for a few years. Even if you do decide to change your mind 3-4 years from now, like this guy did, that's that much more peace that he's had in his life because he wasn't losing his shit over losing his hair. He was able to deal with it.
I'll give you a little anecdote real quick, and let this guy Todd Green rest in peace. He was a good dude, and he was the guy who developed and designed the head blade, and it was really the first kind of cool head shaping device.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he actually sponsored our radio booth at the FU Europe when he, actually kicked ass. I think that was the most.
Is that the one where you got the Lifetime Achievement Award?
No, I got the Lifetime Achievement Award the year before.
The year before. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
But I think this was the most attended conference, if I remember. All I can tell you is at least the people that were there who've gone to conferences afterwards said it was the most lively and it was the most fun. Because, what wouldn't be fun? We're doing a live broadcast and recording with doctors from all over the world. Anyway, so this guy, he died not too long ago. He was a young guy, died of cancer. Was willing to sponsor this event. And he's like, well, I don't really understand initially. He's like, this is a hair transplant event. I said, dude, our whole message is surgery is the last resort. How great would it be to have your great logo right there at a hair transplant conference? And we're going to be streaming this online. It only, I think it only reinforces our message, especially coming live from a hair transplant conference. And he thought it was brilliant. He did well with it. We did well with it, and we were able to get a message out there, providing great interviews from some of the best doctors in the world, some not so great, but some most of them are pretty good, and also provide that message to the consumer who's watching this that, yeah, we're at a hair transplant conference, and yeah, you see the IHRS logo and the Ball Truth logo and Grow MD and other logos, SmartGraft, but you also see you don't have to do any of this shit. You can just buy this razor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
you get that philosophy, man, because that's what you've done.
Yeah,
Well
that's
done.
awesome. I completely. I think that's awesome, and especially that guy Harry on Bald Cafe. He's the man too. Highly recommend his channel. And,
love that guy. He's one of the first American Hair Loss Association accepted content creators. And which he should be.
Oh, is that right? That's awesome.
He's going to be promoting that soon, and we're going to be promoting it as well. But he's one of the first people I thought of. I'm like, he's not talking about surgery. He's giving people an out and making it comfortable for them and providing them with kind of psychological reinforcement and therapy. I think what he does is brilliant.
Yeah, extremely valuable. I agree. And so, I feel kind of, I regret to state my opinion that after 3 times of shaving my head, I feel like I've earned an opinion about what it's like after 3 times of owning it, showing up to dinners and parties with a smile on my face, and really giving it a shot. That being said, I feel still like, man, I really would like that facial framing of a hairline of some kind.
Yeah.
And so I looked into SMP, but I don't feel like that's a good option for me. And I feel like my donor area is pretty strong. I haven't had any surgeries. I'm 34. And yeah, I've been really considering surgery. I've met with a lot of the doctors in your organization, and they seem very talented. And I'm really considering it, although I am very afraid.
Well, here's the thing. You are coming at it from a position of power and knowledge. You've empowered yourself. Yeah. Being 34, you're still relatively young. And while you say you have and I hope you do, really great donor, you may or may not, you have to have it assessed. And it is possible that if you just need a good framing in the face and you're willing and you feel comfortable enough to wear your hair really short, if the surgery is done really well and all the stars are aligned and, the physician's able to use smaller punches to remove to extract the grafts. It's possible you can definitely wear a pretty short haircut under the right circumstances and have that framing of the face. So, but that's not guaranteed. That's the problem. This is surgery. So my advice is always, look, if you could figure out a way to live the way you live and get more comfortable, then do it. But there's nothing wrong with doing your due diligence and researching and speaking to as many doctors as you can to kind of, develop that dossier, that file for yourself. So when the time is right, if it ever is, you'll know which direction to go in.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I saw a clip of you from a while back talking about how the results you see, those are just the home run results,
yes,
which kind of stuck with me. Like, okay, that's the best of the best. This is the highlight reel. And so even in the best hands, maybe it's not guaranteed, but I'm trying to get more and more knowledgeable about how good of a chance I stand, basically. So that's kind of the journey I'm on.
That's interesting. You mentioned that because I was thinking about something that I've been seeing recently, and I'd like to get your take on it as a patient that's doing your research.
Yeah.
How do you feel about clinics that offer adjunct procedures to surgery at cost, and then make the claims of, say, 99% regrowth at 4 months of recovery? What does that do?
I'm going to let him respond to this.
I'm
going to put the camera on you, but I can tell you how I feel real quickly. That is some of the biggest marketing bullshit. That it makes me sick when I see that
leading
stuff.
the witness. Leading the witness.
Okay, all right.
Leading the witness.
It's on you. I got to take a piss.
Leading the witness.
No, I can honestly say I would have been. Yeah, I would have been skeptical too. Even without Spencer's take, I would have been skeptical seeing that kind of thing. To be honest,
regardless of how impressive his response was, you still would have had this opinion. I get it. No, I'm noticing this with even some surgeons that have a supposedly great reputation. They're making these claims about what they refer to as biologics for treating hair loss, and I got real concerns about it, man. Like I know it's bullshit. People that subscribe to the channel and pay attention, they usually know it's bullshit. But how many people don't? That's what I'm worried about. And so I wanted to ask you, because you seem like you've been doing your research, you got a good head on your shoulders, and you obviously catch on to that. But man, there's so many people that don't. And the claim even goes even further to say that with this one clinic, their particular biologics that they sell, they don't include with surgery, they sell it on top of surgery, that by 1 year, it's 100% growth. No clinic should say that anything is 100%, much less growth of a hair transplant, for two reasons. One, they can't quantify it. Like, how are they supposed to quantify it? Like, if you come in as a patient and you're not quite satisfied with you think that it should be fuller, how are they going to go in and quantify how many grafts were extracted, how many incisions were made, how many grafts were placed into those incisions, and how many grew a year later? I've asked several doctors, and not a single one of them can, I'm full disclosure, I'm not talking to doctors that offer this stuff. But they're all like, it's complete horseshit. It's simply marketing. And this is more for the people watching this than you, caller, and I appreciate you already understand this. But these kinds of claims, as far as I'm concerned, they should be illegal, and they actually might be illegal. So I would like for everyone listening to this, if you see these kinds of claims, please send them to me, because I'm actually building a spreadsheet of clinics that are offering these types of treatments, and then the claims that go along with them, because at some point they'll have to be called out somehow.
Yeah,
through my resources, or through other means, I don't know. But if you see this, send me a DM on Instagram. I'd like to see it. But I'm glad you get it though.
All right, what did I miss? All right, listen,
he's back.
Brother, listen. I think, first of all, I'm glad that you found the program, and I'm glad that you've been able to kind of step back, take a breath, try everything you could before you decide to have surgery, and also really understand the entire scope and all the possibilities and pitfalls that could happen with surgery. And it is interesting, coming from your perspective, living a life as a shaved head person, just, knowing, it's kind of like, when you live a life, like I've lived in, like, crazy houses and, all this stuff that people think they really aspire to. I realized as I got older and as I separated from the co-author of my life, and I decided to kind of change my life a little bit, I realized exactly what I needed. And I didn't need that. I didn't need the acre with the, 6,000 square foot home and, the dojo and all the happy horse shit. I need something else. And everyone thinks when they're getting into hair loss, they need all the hair back. They can't live another way. They can't figure things out. They can't be happier in another state, or another place. You may not be thrilled, but you realize that there's life after hair loss, and you could live this way, right?
Yeah, I mean, I see it, but I do know that it would be a very long journey of introspection and self-acceptance and self-love, and a lot of work that I feel like people wouldn't really do after shaving their head. Most people wouldn't do it because it's very tough. At least it was for me. And then I never fully accepted it, even after a year total with the shaved head 3 separate times. So, but you're right. I do see the point that you're trying to make.
Well, listen, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time, and let us know what you decide to do, but just take your time, man. Take your time. I think the advice you're giving young listeners is really solid.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate the call, guys. Thanks so much.
All right, brother. You take care.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Peru?
Who's this?
Well, it's, everybody keeps telling me to call you guys, so I did. You get a large coffee with cream. Thank you.
Large coffee with cream. So who is this?
Dr. Hayden. Dr. Cole. How are you?
Dr. John Cole. I thought you'd be like at a pro-Hamas meeting tonight. What's going on? What can we do for you?
No, my brother. I always very supportive of the Israeli movement.
You got to speak into the microphone of your phone.
I am speaking. Clearly or not.
We can't hear you, man. We're here. We're waiting for you to speak into the microphone.
So you want to shut me down on that? Okay, because I'm speaking in the microphone.
Dude, we're not going to shut you down. Relax. Speak into the microphone so we can hear your wisdom.
Oh, you want to talk to me as if I'm talking to you from a mosque? It's absurd. Already, the second I get in, you say that I'm calling you from Hamas.
Dr. Cole, I didn't say that. What can we do for you? The platform is yours. We're
Nothing.
open.
You cannot do anything for me. My patients asked me to call you. What the hell do you want to hear from me? Because you know what I'm going to tell you. And I have listened to you for probably 30 minutes. And I got to say, I like what I hear.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a nice compliment. Thanks.
I want to see you do what you claim. You know that. That's all I've ever said. Do what you claim. Now,
that's all he's ever said about Spencer. Wow, that's rich. That is rich.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out the phone call. So you called in. You're welcome to call in. What can we do for you? Let's talk. What's going on?
nothing.
How are you been?
Nothing you can do for me. You're doing a great job for me. I get a lot of leads off of that because you guys are killing my business. It's amazing what you're doing for it. No, let me tell you that. What can I do for you?
Dr. Cole,
That's
do
the
me a
more
favor.
important question.
Dr. Cole, just talk, if you can, speak into the microphone or put your headset on so we can hear you better.
You're speaking directly into my phone. There's no way I can make it more clear. Now, let me ask you, what can I do for you? Why did you guys want me to call in your show? Because that's what my patients ask me to do. They say, why don't you call them? I'm like, for what?
Joe, I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. Why don't you tell me? Maybe you can tell me.
I'm wondering what he's had to drink today.
I just bought a coffee. What do you want from me? What do you want? What is it you guys want?
Wait a second. This is a live, Dr. Cole. This is a live radio show. I don't know what's going on or what's going on in your head right now. But if you want to speak about something related to hair loss or surgery, this is an open platform. We don't screen our calls. So I saw a light lit. I hit, go. I said, you're live on the air. And now you're asking me what we want from you. I didn't call you.
Well, I can tell you that my patients told me to call you. So I'm asking you, what is it you want to speak about? Because I know my personal belief is that you guys take money to promote doctors who are not very good at what they do. And I have told you this for many years. So I'm asking you, point blank, why would my patients ask me to call you?
Joe, you got to help me here. We got to figure this out.
I don't know what to say about the fact that he's saying that he's told us that people we recommend for years are not very good. How come I've never heard this from you before? Where is this coming from? You have never once told me this. And if you'd like to claim as such, maybe present
you
something.
You have recommended some of the worst people in your entire life. You have recommended foot surgery your entire life. I have always been very complimentary of you because you recommend fewer people than Spencer does. Spencer is like, it's all over the fucking globe. He's going to recommend his grandmother to make dinner, even though she's a horrible cook. It's
are you telling me that my grandmother is a horrible cook?
Stop it.
Are you telling me that my grandmother is a horrible cook, Dr. Cole? Listen, Doc, what if you had to drink today?
Well, she might be good one. Send her right over, and we'll check her out.
Dr. Cole, you're slurring your words. What are you?
You're crazy.
Why
I'm
are
not.
you calling? You're welcome to call the program anytime, but let's. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, in 2018, I don't know. You presented me. I mean, the speech is online with a Lifetime Achievement Award from FUE Europe, and the beautiful things that you said about my role in the field and what I've done for hair transplant surgery, which is still online. It's actually still on one of your websites, and then, all the footage that we have of you saying that, I'm the most selfless human being you've ever met, and this, that, and the other thing, and what we've done for the field, and the great things you said for Joe. And then just because, I guess, Joe doesn't want to work with you, and we decide that's probably not the best thing in the world to, continue any type of relationship after some of the stuff that you put online, and the alleged, death threats and all this stuff. Now you're upset. Listen, there's no hard feelings, Dr. Cole. You could live your life, do your thing, practice medicine in the way in which you think you should practice medicine. You're the doctor. That's it. Do your thing. You should probably think about things that are more constructive to help your patients, to grow your practice, and stop focusing on, people who may not want to be involved with you anymore.
Are you done
That's
talking?
well said.
Are you done talking?
I think Joe wants to say something.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I just think that you need to, I don't know. This whole thing took me by surprise when literally within 1 hour you're saying I was the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then when I tell you I don't want to work with you anymore, I'm suddenly evil and greedy, and you compare me and Spencer to Joseph Goebbels, which was that was disgusting of you, by the way.
Yeah, and that's why I asked if you were at a pro-Hamas meeting, because honestly, in my entire career, I've never experienced the degree of anti-Semitism that we had to experience in your group by your son and yourself.
Are you guys done speaking? Are you guys done speaking?
You can listen. This is a conversation, my man.
That's what you did to my son. In other words, you do not allow other people to say the words. You turn down.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
What you did to my son. The floor is mine.
Dr. Cole, I'm going to tell you this. If you listen to the broadcast, you could hear your son's phone in the background the entire time. I don't turn down anything, my man.
Stop talking. You racist bitch. You are racist bitch for sure. I'm going to tell you flat out. Joe Tillman promotes people who pay him. He promotes some of the worst doctors in the world. He's promoted some of the worst surgeries in the world. And so have you, Spencer. I have been behind you guys only because you keep telling me that you're going to change the field. But you don't change the field. All you do is promote really bad surgery. You promote bad surgery. You keep doing this over and over and over again. It's horrible what you guys do.
I'm going to go ahead and say that.
No, shut the fuck up. I am talking. You guys promote really bad surgeons. I had a patient in today who had one of your doctors put a very low hairline on him, and now he's losing the entire front of his head. He's going to be a Norwood 6 eventually. But he has this low 7 centimeter hairline. Beautiful guy. He's a mess. He's going to be a mess because of you guys. You cannot continue to promote bad surgery. You have to start listening to what is good and what is bad. And I stand behind you guys because you wanted to promote the good. Don't attack me because I like good.
All right, Joe. I'm gonna let you try to respond. It was not that coherent.
I filtered through some of the things that he was saying that I could understand. I couldn't understand, but I didn't get an answer to the question. Why did I not hear any of this before I said I don't want to work with you, and then suddenly I'm hearing about this nonstop? Like if you can produce some sort of email or something where you talk to me about the only one I remember is about a week before I cut you loose. You were asking me to take on Dr. Zarev.
You didn't cut me loose. I cut you loose.
That's the only.
Bastard. I cut you loose.
Dr. Cole, it's in writing. It's in writing.
In the world on myself and Tesla Zarev, and we both cut you guys loose. We cut you both loose.
I'm sorry, Dr. Cole. I never worked with Dr. Zarev.
Trust me.
I never worked with Dr. Zarev.
Let me say this.
John, you know that...
One of the first... Hey, look, you and I fought for a long time because you kept promoting strip surgery, and I kept saying it was a horrible system. And then you started to promote another FUE surgeon in Canada, and he's a good guy, but my God, he was a disaster. And his results were disastrous. So, yeah, we had a big problem over that. Don't ever think we stopped, communicating and having an issue over what you do, which is promote bad surgeons. You promote bad surgeons as a way of life, as a way of making income. You're a bad guy, a bad man. You are a bad man, period. Now, in terms of you and I really felt like this guy had turned the corner. He was coming around. He was really focused on good work. And I was very happy that you came to me and said, I would like to promote your work. I was very happy about that because I felt like you had a good eye for quality.
I have to interrupt you there, Dr. Cole, because I have never approached anyone except for 2 doctors in my career about
liar.
I have the emails.
Liar.
It's all documented. It's all documented.
You asked me.
It's all documented, and I have no problem sharing those emails on my next show. Where I sent you a letter saying that you do not play well with others, so I didn't think it was a good idea. And that's when you went on hairsite.com and you decided to drag my name through the mud. And then about 2 years later, when we were both working with the same patient, I told you, I said we could revisit your application. And you said that would be great. That's exactly.
You're a liar.
I'm sorry, say that again. Sorry, say that again.
Say that again. You are a liar. You are a liar.
No, you said something else before that. So you said something else before
that.
No,
I said you're a liar. You are a liar. I never applied to be anything. I never applied to you nor Spencer. You guys come to me.
So I'd like to welcome everyone for this Monday's special episode of the main event, where I will be showcasing the email exchanges between me and Dr. Cole.
Better than everyone else you promote. I'm that much better.
So why
I can make any one of your doctors look good just touching them up.
So
most of the doctors you promote suck.
So I want to say this, and this is interesting.
Yeah,
this is reminiscent of when we first met, Dr. Cole, and I think you'll appreciate this.
You know.
So back in 2000, back in 2000,
you both are liars that push it.
I'm not pushing anything. We're just having a discussion. It's a radio show, dude.
No,
relax.
We're not having a discussion. You're promoting bullshit, and what you're promoting is bad surgery.
So
that's all you do.
Back when I was back before 9/11.
I have to say we're getting some great numbers today because of this.
You, on the other hand.
So back when, and you'll see when you hear this back, you'll see how we don't turn down your sound and we allow you to try to somehow.
Oh, I'm sure you're going to turn it on me. I don't really care. I can tell you, you both are bad people. What you do is promote bad service.
Is that why you sent me a death threat?
You're such a liar. You're an absolute liar. No one sent you a death threat. The only thing I want to see from you is your business ties, because you're a bad person. You hurt people.
So you do know what this phone call is doing for your practice, Dr. Cole. You know you're not helping yourself.
I hope that it exemplifies what you guys do, which is bad work.
Now,
you guys are the worst people in the world. Nobody will attack you. Nobody will attack you because they're afraid of you.
What it illustrates.
I am not. The reason is I'm that much better than all the other people. And so they all want to just have your, stamp of approval. And the bottom line is the only people in your network are bad surgeons.
So why would anybody want the stamp of approval of people who don't know what they're talking about?
They aren't good at what they do. They're not good at what they want to do.
So then why?
And so they want your stamp of approval.
So then why did
people go there?
Why did you send enough checks to my company to send 5 kids through college over the last 20 years?
Because you kept. Now, first of all, you remember that I stopped sending you checks, and I told you why. For some reason,
did you start it up again?
No. The reason you stopped sending me checks
liar, is because liar, pants on fire. The reason I began again was you said, "Oh, you know what? There's a situation where."
John, we don't need to lie. Everything that you do is in writing, John. You spend hours late night writing these insane emails. We have all the receipts about everything.
You're a liar. You're a liar. I spent seconds writing responses to your craziness.
John, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to.
Liar, liar, liar. Listen, I said
wow.
I started giving you checks because you claimed you were trying to change the world, and there were so many bad surgeries that we can't promote only the good ones. We got to promote the less safe ones. I said, okay, I'll try to grab on board on that. And then I started seeing that you started adding more doctors who were even worse.
Really? So how many doctors do you think
I mean,
were
they
added?
were horrible.
How many
They were
doctors?
absolutely horrible.
How many
I
doctors
can't
were
believe
added
you guys
since
did that. It was
2017?
How can you liar, 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 liar? You're a liar.
This is wild. You know, I may have to turn down your sound so we can get a word in edgewise, John.
Yeah, you may have to. You may have to go like, bad trash. I don't know, but it's horrible.
John, I'm gonna take a breath while we speak. All right, this is a give and take show. This is
Look, I care about patients. Clearly, you care about your pocketbook. Is this doing anything to help me economically? No. And the only thing that can happen is you're going to denigrate my reputation, which is worthy of many years.
John, we don't need to denigrate your reputation, Dr. Cole. You're doing it for yourself. We just have to sit back and let you talk.
You are doing it. I am just there to expose you guys as not being
that's
worthy
actually
of someone to listen.
I'm going to say something now, Dr. Cole. You know, I find it interesting that you're talking about how, you know, we're going to be trying to ruin your reputation when you've been saying yourself that you are going to attack our business, that we are the worst people in the world among your colleagues, and you have the gall to sit here and tell us that we're attacking your reputation? I don't understand the logic and how you approach this.
Because you have no reputation. You have a reputation as trying to send people to the doctors, and unfortunately, you send them back.
John, if you've been paying attention for the past several years, you know that we don't try to send patients anywhere.
John, you're punching way above your weight class, my man.
On the other hand, I deliver results. That's what I do, and you cannot dismiss that because I do deliver.
Do you think that anyone who's listening to this broadcast would ever consider even having a consultation with you, Dr. Cole? We haven't said a word against you. You're doing it to yourself. Your son did it. You're doing it. You're not letting anybody speak.
I'd actually like to clarify that I personally have said nothing but great things about your surgical ability, and I still to this day have said nothing bad about your surgical ability. And you can't point to a single instance where I have. You, on the other hand, have had no problems saying anything that comes to your mind to try and damage us, which is fine because it doesn't really work the way that you think it does.
Again, you're such a liar. You have called people to say, that fellow's not really in his right mind. Maybe you shouldn't go there. You're a liar. You're always a liar.
That has nothing to do with your surgical abilities.
No.
Does it? Does it?
Okay, liar.
Does it?
You know, don't.
John, when you sober up and you listen to this broadcast,
able to perform every conference in the world.
When you sober up and you listen to this broadcast, you're going to be fucking mortified, man.
Sober up? What are you talking about? Drinking coffee?
You're going to be mortified.
Every conference in the world wants me to attend their meetings because I have something to say.
I don't know about that now.
You guys, on the other hand, have nothing to say.
John, you are now considered, whether you know it or not, persona non grata in your own industry. And only because of what you're doing to yourself. I feel bad even letting you on the air to hang yourself like this. I mean, I don't feel comfortable allowing this to even happen because it's such a train wreck.
Oh, I'm sure you'll turn it into whatever you want to be. Spencer,
I don't need to turn into anything.
You are a bad person.
I don't need to turn anything into shit.
Bad person. And believe me, I'll turn it into your own train wreck. Don't think this is going to go one way.
It is going one way. It's essentially you're in a free fall spiral. I don't even know what to say about this. I'm watching a person who's systematically dismantling himself. We don't have to do anything.
Oh, that's good to hear. That's good for you,
Look,
because I'm going to systematically do it the same way to you.
John, I just want to say one thing, and I hope you take it for the spirit that it's meant. I really do hope. I can't even think of how to say this even more sincerely.
This is such a bullshit comment. But the only thing I care about...
I haven't even made the comment yet. I haven't even
I
made
already
my
know where
comment
you're
yet.
going.
John,
I already know where you're going.
let
the
Joe
only thing I
speak.
care about is the people I work on.
Joe, we're giving you the opportunity. We're giving you the opportunity to speak on the program. Let
I
Joe
love
speak.
every patient I work on. I care about all the results. And when I see the results that are really horrendous, I had one in today. One of your HRS disasters, he's going to be a mess in 20 years. My God.
I can tell you this,
What
Dr. Cole.
are you guys doing promoting?
I can tell you this, Dr. Cole.
I have no idea.
And this is the
I have
truth.
no idea.
I've never said this on the air before, but this is the
amazing.
truth. If we decided to get, and just ask your colleagues, IHRS or not, to present at least one patient that they had to repair from you, it's a slam fucking dunk. And I can guarantee that. So people in glass houses should not throw stones. And I can tell you that you are making up a lot of shit just to somehow save face because Joe kicked your ass out of his organization.
6-centimeter hairline on a guy who's absolutely beautiful.
I gotta laugh. This guy
now developing a hair loss in the midsection.
John.
It's absolutely.
John, you shouldn't. There's a couple of things in life you shouldn't do as a professional. You never drunk text. You never drunk text, and you never call a live broadcast drunk. It's not a good. It's not a good look, my man. You're harming yourself.
Are you crazy? Why do you make such phenomenal assertions up? It's crazy. You are a disaster.
Look, I'm going to finish my comment, and then you can say whatever you want. But John, I really do care for your well-being. I care for your patients. I care for your practice, and I want you to get the help that you need to get because you're not well, my friend. You really aren't well.
There you go. And of course, I need help because anyone that questions what you guys do needs help.
I have people question me all the time.
That's a bizarre perspective, Dr. Cole. That's such an untrue.
Part of what we do.
It's what you do is it's really projection, and I think you know that. For some reason, you feel bad about yourself. I don't know if you've harmed somebody in your past. I don't know what it is, but I can tell you this: there's no way you had a male figure in your life growing up. I can tell you that because you have an extremely feminine way of approaching life.
You crazy man. The difference between you and me is you have no hair loss. I don't have hair loss. In fact, I didn't develop it until my 50s. But
so I don't have hair loss.
You don't really have hair loss, but you jumped on this ship. You have been promoting.
So are you telling me that the guy on Instagram? You're telling me the guy on Instagram who said that I have the worst wig that he's ever seen is crazy? I appreciate that.
Shut up. Now, what you guys do is you both play on a condition that people have. And it's not a nice position, people. When they have it, it bothers them. Now, I truly care about the people I treat. You guys, on the other hand, don't really care about the people you treat. What you care about is putting money
we don't treat people. We're not doctors.
Yeah. You promote doctors, and you both have Joe. You work for a doctor, and Spencer.
I don't promote anybody.
Always just promoted. It's kind of a bullshit job he has. But anyway, the difference is I care about the people. I care religiously about the patients I treat, and I develop procedures and techniques to make everything better. Everything from the harvesting to the graft implantation to the result. And so one of the reasons every doctor in the world wants to be a hair transplant surgeon today is due to a lot of the work I did in the 1990s. Like, God, I don't want to be a hair transplant doctor. It sucks. The results are terrible. Now they all want
in
to
the
be
1990s?
Oh God, it was terrible. Go look at go look at the shows with Seinfeld where they made jokes about hair play.
John, I have a question for you. Who's the most read author? Who's the most read? I have a question for you, John.
All the things today we created to make things better.
I have a question for you, John.
I'm just curious what you did in the 90s.
John, I have a question for you.
I don't care about your question. Your questions are stupid.
Oh,
all the things we did.
Well, you know what? Indulge me. Indulge my stupidity.
Made the surgery much
Dr.
better.
Cole.
Now everybody wants to be a hair transplant.
Yeah, you are absolutely. You're an incredible human being. You've led the path.
Actually, very very astute. I am.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that compliment, calling me astute. But let me ask you a question: who's the most read author in the world in your field?
Who?
Who's the most read author in the world on the subject of the prevention and treatment of hair loss, as well as providing truth to consumers in a published volume? Who would that be?
Who is the best surgeon other than myself in this world? It would be Lupanzula, another doctor who is very much does not like you because you promote other doctors in his region, and he doesn't appreciate that because it elevates their esteem. And one of the reasons I have a big problem with you is like I elevate the esteem of all your people that you recommend because I'm that much better. You recommend me, I'll just elevate the bar on these guys. Now, who's the most published individual? Who cares? Are they good? Tell me, are they good? Give me a name. I'll tell you. I'm not afraid to tell you if they're good.
John, listen, is there anything else you want to add to the program? We gave you the platform. You're welcome to continue to speak. Whatever else you'd like to add.
No, I'm sure you're gonna take this and build it your way. Obviously, I don't.
We don't have to do anything. Joe's just going to put the live stream on, and people are going to listen.
Guys, you only have like 50 listens anyway. I don't really care. But the only thing I would add is I personally like both of you guys, and I honestly. Are we?
I like you, but you're completely terrible, and I'm going to kill you. That's. Wow.
Give me a break. I mean, Joe, you're so exposed. I have been nothing but pleasant to you. I have been nothing but complimentary to you. You put all
John, that is exactly the case. You're absolutely correct. You're nothing but complimentary to me and supportive of me. You even told me you loved me. And then on the same day, you compared me to Joseph Goebbels. You said you're going to destroy me. You said I actually have it right here in front of me.
That is an
Should I share it? Should I put it up on the screen so you can see it when you sober up?
Someone else? No, you don't have to. Someone else mentioned the Nazi Party, and I said, well, they're propagandists. I've never compared you to them. Do not go there with me, Joe. I will. Oh my God! If you put that, watch that. Don't do it. It's horrible.
Why not?
Don't do it. Why?
Well, you keep calling me a liar, so why shouldn't I just share the truth?
Well,
you just said
you're a liar. No one compared you to Joseph Goebbels. Not me. I never said that you're a horrible person in many ways. You know that as well as I do. I mean, good God, how many of your previous patients?
I'm a horrible person, but you like me a lot. Which is it? Please just stick with one. Like you can't do both.
Well, I guess I can't like you. So I guess
it's one or the other.
I guess I have to hate you. I guess I have to hate you.
John, do me a favor. Speak into the microphone, man, so we can hear you.
What microphone? I'm talking to my phone.
Yeah, your phone has a microphone. So did you not say in your chat group to a bunch of doctors that I was the Ted Kaczynski of Beverly Hills, which is a funny line, by the way?
I'm actually. Let me interrupt. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read Dr. Cole's quote here. Spencer Coburn is profiting at the expense to people. His focus is making money regardless of how it hurts individuals by recommending bad doctors. He's not exterminating a people. His link to Goebbels is how he and Joe Tillman run a propaganda campaign to maintain their destruction of humanity and rise to power. Look how they have tried to tarnish my name to protect their empire. I'm this way. They mimic the propagandists. Those are your words. Oh, he hung up.
He hung up.
He hung up.
Well, that was fun. And I have to say,
That
in a
was-
way, I feel badly. Guys, call in 888-659-3727. In a way, I feel badly, like we let that happen. But if we didn't allow it to happen, then he would come out and say that we somehow try to stifle his ability to call the program.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about as far as, like, asking us what we wanted. Like, I just sit here and I'm like, I answer calls. Like, hey, you're on the air. Who's this? So, guys, I think this is an interesting example of, that we're all just human beings. Doctors are human beings, too. And everyone suffers in their own way, in different aspects of life. We kind of put doctors on a pedestal and we hope that, they are, or we think we're reared that somehow they're above all of the issues that a lot of us have, or a lot of people suffer with. But doctors are not immune to, substance abuse. Doctors are not immune to mental illness. Doctors are not immune to, depression and different issues in life. That's just the reality of life. It's unfortunate. I think I've never really understood why Dr. Cole's always projected the things that he has over the years and why he's, been known as a bully and someone to kind of like avoid. And when physicians contact us and they're like, well, I don't want to be involved with John, or when we were doing the Global Hair Loss Summit, people actually dropped out or they wouldn't attend or participate simply because they didn't want to have to deal with John. And I always felt, if I could be candid, he's not going to like this. I always felt bad for the guy. I always felt, you know what? The guy's got good hands. I think that he offers a lot. There's so few doctors out there that we could really say, hey, look, this is a safe choice. He was one of them. But, I think just this illustrates everyone's human, man. And sometimes people
it
just,
does.
They get fucked up. What are you going to do?
I'm kind of, I feel bad for him. I really do. Like
you want to take some
I
calls?
could have taken the opportunity.
People are calling. Yeah,
hang on.
Okay.
I want to take
All
the
right.
opportunity just to
hang
say,
on. Yeah.
we could have just absolutely dismantled this man, but I didn't have the heart to do it. I know Spencer didn't have the heart to do it.
No. I feel badly for him.
I just feel bad for him. Yeah, I'm sorry it came to this. I really am. Like all I did was tell the man that I didn't want to work with him anymore, and this is the result. So it is what it is. Yeah, we got some people commenting about lines are busy, so if we can take a call, let's do that.
All right, let's take a call. Let's see. Let's see. Hey, you're on the air.
Hello.
Yes, hi. Who's this?
Hello.
Where are you calling from?
Hello. My name is Mr. Constantine. I was on hold during that whole interaction. My condolences. My condolences, really.
I'm sorry you had to be on hold for that.
I'm sorry about that, man. I mean, we wanted to give them the opportunity to continue to speak, but I know that it was probably a distraction for a lot of guys.
Well, it's a good lesson. I appreciate that monologue about the vulnerability of doctors. It's very true. Regardless, I wanted to call. I needed advice.
Sure. That's what we're here for.
So, my doctor actually prescribed me 300 milligrams of spironolactone for hair loss, of course.
Mm-hmm.
To take orally?
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Orally.
Okay.
And without embarrassing myself, I do kind of feel a bit feminized. I know I messed with the hormones, but the thing is that I didn't want to go with finasteride. My doctor wasn't too keen on it. But
you know that, I don't mean to interrupt you, and I want to finish your thought, but that's interesting to me that your doctor wasn't too keen on finasteride, but he's willing to prescribe a medication that's normally prescribed to women that could have pretty significant estrogenic effects for a man, and that just seems a little. Have you ever heard about that, Joe? A guy being prescribed spironolactone orally?
I have.
You have?
I have. And, you know, what's interesting is I've heard of cases like this. I've talked to patients that have come into the office to talk to me about stuff like this. And almost every time it's because they're getting the same side effects that they were trying to avoid by taking finasteride.
Yeah.
Because it all comes down to, well, it's all natural versus, a synthetic pharmaceutical. It's irrelevant because they're both doing the same thing. And that's why there's really no difference in my mind if someone's trying to avoid side effects. In fact, I tell people that are trying to take something other than finasteride, I tell them that if it's going to affect their DHT sensitivity, then they could wind up having the same side effects from a pharmaceutical. So, yeah, I'm sorry you're going through this. How long have you been dealing with this?
Oh, it was only recently, about a month ago, earlier in October.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
So about a month.
In that month,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, in about that month, it was around the 2.5 week mark that my body hair wasn't exactly regrowing. I did a full shave earlier that month, and typically as a guy, my hair it grows faster. It grows faster, but by the 2.5 week mark, it just didn't. And I found this a bit odd, and I heard that when you take spironolactone, there would be some change in thought, as in it becomes quote unquote more feminine. But this culminated into the end of the month, during trick or treating, when I noticed light gyno formation on my left breast.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, so the body hair situation is common to DHT inhibition in general. It's anecdotal, but the consensus among most doctors is that that have experience with finasteride is that it does inhibit body hair growth. But it's not so much in that case a feminization; it just slows the growth. It doesn't prevent it; it doesn't stunt it so much, but it does grow slower. I didn't experience that myself, but a doctor that I know quite well, he reported that himself while taking finasteride. So, what have you talked to your doctor about this? Have you taken any action? Have you done anything different?
I actually need advice about just how to approach it. I haven't talked to him yet, but I will tomorrow. But
yeah.
The thing was during that initial period where we were discussing the script itself. I mentioned to the doctor I was concerned about post finasteride syndrome, and my doctor, he wasn't exactly negative towards finasteride, but he acknowledged prior lawsuits in regards to a pro-finasteride syndrome. And he suggested a script. That's why he suggested the script of 300 milligrams of spironolactone. But I was calling to ask him how should I touch base with my doctor and get a script for finasteride.
Well, let me ask you a question. As far as the gynecomastia now, are you just feeling it, or do you notice that the gland is hardened, or is it still kind of like the beginning process?
It's like it feels soft. It's only on one breast. This occurred on sugar treating.
Okay. Well, so that's a sign that the buds are kind of like starting, and it's possible that it could turn into something that's more permanent that you would eventually need to have removed. It's interesting, when a physician who should understand the way the world works, the way medicine works, and the way the legal system works, brings up lawsuits that are filed based on a phenomenon that really hasn't been proven to have any causal effect. That's a red flag right there. So it just kind of illustrates a kind of a lack of understanding and knowledge in this space about which drugs are going to be most appropriate to prescribe. You know what I'm saying? So that's not your fault, but I would say that where are you located?
I'm actually located in Metro Atlanta.
Okay. Well, there are some doctors in Atlanta that you can check out. I'm not sure how you feel about the guy that just called in, but there's other ones that can give you that can give you a good assessment. You can go to iahrs.org, and you can find there's Dr. Ken Anderson. We have Dr. Dan Danio.
Dr. Anderson's in the chat room right now.
Dr. Anderson's actually in the chat room right now. And I think he can, these docs can definitely provide you with probably a more reasonable assessment of what's going on based on their experience of prescribing these drugs for so long and what they're seeing in their practice.
I have to interject. My doctor, in the middle of giving that script, he was suggesting to me that it would be beneficial if I was given a script of a 10 milligram dose of oral minoxidil. That's something that's comfortable for him. But I didn't exactly go through with this either. But I just had to ask.
It's interesting that he brought up overboard. It's interesting that he brought up 10 milligrams because that's kind of like a really old school Durham's possible approach. Low dose oral minoxidil has become a lot more popular the last 3 years or so, and really, they're starting most guys off at about 2.5 milligrams now.
Yeah, 2.5 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's been a lot of data, and there seems to be a lot of good stuff coming out, as far as, guys who are getting good results using low-dose oral minoxidil, minimal side effects, but side effects can occur. I do find it interesting, and probably, and again, I'm not a doctor, so you have to speak to your doctor about this, but I don't think most doctors would write a script for spironolactone so quickly to a man, especially in 2023. Maybe 20 years ago, but not today.
The thing is, he also recommended laser therapy options, with the laser cap.
Yeah.
I heard about this on the channel Hair Cap. Well, can I mention another channel? Is that allowed? Or?
You can mention whatever you want.
The Hair Cafe channel, I heard about laser therapy treatments, and they're hit or miss. But in the case of my doctor, they offer the resource to get a laser cap on Amazon and try that out.
Well, here's the thing.
He says that he saw results.
I think you need to see a different doctor. That would be my advice. If you were my brother or anybody, that would be my advice. See someone who really specializes in hair loss and who could really assess your situation, talk to you about the medication you're currently taking and what you're experiencing, and potentially, if they think you're a candidate, prescribe you with the proper medication and dosage of medication to potentially get you to where you need to be. If you're in a position where you can stop the progression of your hair loss and regrow some hair, The one thing we didn't ask, I'm going to have to take another call in a second, is how far has your hair loss progressed to this point?
Well, the thing about my hair loss is it's a genetic. Well, of course, but I mean, it's a genetic. I have a genetic quirk where it started early at age 16. I'm actually age 19 right now. I'd say I'm experiencing something of a Norwood 4. So at this point, I got into the whole hair loss sphere last year, and it got to a point where I wanted to seek, further action. So that's why last month when I got my script, I sought out a dermatologist who specialized in hair loss.
I don't know who you saw, but there's no way that this dermatologist specializes in hair loss.
Right, I got to agree with that.
They may say
300 milligrams is quite a bit to start off with, and 10 milligrams of, like Spencer said, this sounds like an old school dermatologist, like it's been around for quite a while. I've not heard of anyone prescribing so much spironolactone in a long time. So, like this is the first time I've even heard of someone talking about this.
I mean, for women, I'd say
years.
200 milligrams is probably on the higher end for women who are being prescribed the drug. So do yourself a favor, and we're going to take another call, but go check out one of the doctors in Atlanta that part of the IHRS. At the very least, they're not going to sell you a hair transplant. Let them know that you're not interested in hair transplant surgery, that you want to have a medical assessment. And, let them, walk you through the reality of treatment, how it works, what their experiences are, what they think might help you. All right? And if you continue, I mean, honestly, you're probably going to have to talk to your doctor about discontinuing spironolactone if you're having side effects after a month, like gynecomastia.
Change doctors right away, and that doesn't sound good.
What doesn't sound good?
The you mentioned that would be something more of what a old school dermatologist would do. I'm not exactly. I'm new to the whole hair loss sphere.
Okay, so what we're trying to tell you is that the doctor you're currently seeing might not be fully up to date with the current treatments for hair loss in men. So you need to see a real hair loss specialist. And there are a couple of doctors in your area, in the Atlanta area, that could help you. So my advice would be go to iahrs.org. These are hair transplant surgeons that also treat hair loss medically with medication. Let them know when you call that you have no interest in a hair transplant. You want to get a medical assessment and you want to learn about treatments. And you can get
and let them know that Spencer sent you.
Yeah, and you can get a real assessment of what's going on with your situation.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be able to give you the proper advice when it comes to the current drug that you're using and the adverse side effects that you're experiencing and what you can do about them. Okay?
Okay. I'll call back the next show about updates.
Okay, yeah. Let us know what you decide to do and how it goes. And I just, go see someone who's really experienced, and I think that you'll come away with kind of a more positive outlook. All right, brother? Thanks for the call.
All right, thank you.
Take care. 888-659-3727. It's already late, but we started late, so let's take one more call.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Rich. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Rich. What's going on?
Hey, Rich.
From where?
Is this I Am Rich in the chat?
I tried to get on last week, but I ended up falling asleep. So, funnily enough, I'm jet lagged right now.
I did too.
I couldn't get to sleep, and that's why I've phoned up. But anyway, nothing too specific to talk about. Just wanted to rant, really.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Actually, Joe, would I be able to send you like a video just so you can see what my hair currently looks like?
Sure. You mean like at this moment or
like an email
near future?
Yeah. I figured it may as well.
Just DM me on Instagram. That's the best.
All right, one sec. But yeah, anyway.
Oh, you're doing it now. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, one sec. Yeah, I'll get that sent over to you. But yeah, in the meantime, so I had a consultation about this time last year with Dr. Lupanzula in the UK. So yeah, that was nice to meet him, and obviously his representative, nice guy Scott. And yeah, he went through my scalp. He used like the magnifying tool, whatever you'd call it, and he said that I'd probably only need around 1,500 grafts for the hairline. He said I don't have too much to worry about with the rest of the top of my head. The one thing that surprised me, though, as I had a consultation with Dr. Jerry Wong in like 2014, he said that my donor would be around 80 grafts per square centimeter, and that I'd probably have around a minimum of 6,500 grafts, and that if I were to ever progress to around Norwood 5, I'd have more than enough to cover that. That surprised me because, as I said, when I met up with Jerry Wong in, I think it was 2014, I met up with his representative probably about 6 months before then. And
was it David?
Him telling me that,
no, not David. It was who was it?
David Anderson or something.
Oh yeah. David Anderson.
Yeah. Yeah. So he said I'd have to be conservative. That my hair, my donor numbers and thickness it's below average basically. I forget the figures he gave me. But then when I met up with Dr. Jerry Wong himself, he didn't go over it with the tool, but he had a brief look and he said, yeah, no worries, probably around 2,000 grafts, like average donor density and thickness. So I just found that interesting that obviously two very reputable surgeons and yet they had quite different outcomes. But then, as I said, Dr. Lupanzula used the tool and I guess he like counted or whatever. So I'm assuming his figures would have been more accurate.
Well, to be fair, it was also 9 years later, and things can change even in the donor area. It could be, you might the ratio of telogen hairs to anagen could have been different because of just the way that your hair cycles. You're 9 years older, so maybe it is possible the donor is just naturally thinner due to hair shaft diameter changes with age. How old are you now?
I'm 33, but I mean, obviously, Lupanzula I met last year, and Wong was like, almost a decade ago. So that would imply that my hair.
That's what I'm saying. Your concern is what?
So my concern is that obviously my hair hasn't completely stabilized or thickened since I saw Dr. Wong. So. Because, I mean, ultimately, I've been listening to the show for a long time. I always sort of told myself that if my hair loss stabilized completely, I'd be happy with that, and I'd just work the concealers. But as more and more
are you taking medication? And forgive me if you said so, but are you on finasteride, dutasteride, minoxidil, anything like that?
I'm on finasteride. I take the ProScar, so the branded ProScar, but I take around a third of a tablet a day, which would, I guess, work out to be about 1.66 milligrams.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's recap. So 2014, Dr. Wong said maybe 2,000 grafts for the hairline. Last year, Dr. Lupanzula said maybe 1,500 grafts for the hairline. Do I have that right?
Yeah. Yeah. He gave me a pencil. He said, like, draw what you want, and I drew something pretty conservative. I was more just saying, I've always had this sort of thinness, like a triangular shape he described, right in the center of my hairline. And then obviously just the typical recession areas where the hair's thinning in the corners. So he said, just fill that triangle in the middle and the edges of the hairline, you'd be looking at around 1,500.
Yeah, and so the difference that you're talking about, if you divide the temples up, which means you got to divide the grafts up by 2, it means that you're looking at a difference of maybe 250 grafts, give or take, on each side. And in the grand scheme of things, it's basically the same assessment. When you're talking about a difference of 500 grafts for a surgery, unless it's below 1,000 grafts, you're not really talking about a huge difference. Like there isn't enough of a discrepancy to say, wow, hold on, stop the horses. This is a big deal. It's not a big deal. It's just a small difference of opinion on what's needed to achieve your goals. And in a lot of cases, to be quite frank with you, if you put the same head, we'll just say twins. If you had a twin and you had 1,500 grafts and he had 2,000, you'd be hard pressed to tell the difference in most conditions. So it's, and I'm just saying that to illustrate the difference in the real world of what that means. So, but between the two, and again, Dr. Wong may have a different assessment today as well, because it's all guesswork. It really is. It's all guesswork. Yeah. Even when a doctor pulls out a pen and a ruler and starts making grids on your hairline, saying, okay, we're going to be putting this many here and this many here, and it's all estimating, which means it's guessing. If he's got a tool that he's looking at to measure stuff, that's fine. But it just means it's still a guess based on what he's looking at. So I wouldn't be concerned about that discrepancy. It's a very small discrepancy. Yeah, exactly. And it's not only is it an approximation, that number can very easily change on the day of surgery, plus or minus a few hundred grafts. It happens almost every time.
Are, asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I've sent you the videos, by the way, if you want to have a look. My hair is... I haven't had my hair cut in 2 years, so it might look... You might be looking at it and thinking, why are you even phoning up? You don't have a problem, but you know how it is.
Trust me, I know how it is. I had a allegedly drunken hair transplant doctor just say that.
Long is because I hate having it cut because sometimes I fuck it up and then I have to work a bit more concealer in the hairline.
Oh, like I was going to say, I think we have overlap here. I just had an allegedly drunken hair transplant doctor say that I don't have any hair loss, and I just got into this industry for fun, apparently. So yeah, I get it. I mean,
backhanded compliment.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Guy's been in my studio. He's actually touched my hair once, the back of my hair.
Yeah.
So
I've been listening to the show for over a decade, and I came into the live stream hearing that, and I'd never heard anything like that before. That was pretty interesting.
No one's heard anything like that before.
I don't think anybody has.
No one has.
I mean, this is medicine.
So I feel really bad for him.
You know, I do feel bad for him. I really do. But there's also a part of me that's just like, in my view, he's done and said a lot of really terrible things. And, you know, he's bullied. There's a lot of physicians, a lot of people in the industry who've been very upset by the level of bullying and nastiness and just the unwellness that he projects. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, here's the good news. Joe and I just have to sit back and, you know, we give him a platform if he wants it, allow him to speak, and let consumers make their own decisions.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good that you let him have a voice still.
Why shouldn't
Ultimately,
I? You know?
It's what he says that will dictate what others think about him. So,
100%.
Well, you know what's interesting. What's interesting, Rich, is he's on. You know, it's now on record. It's now for all the world to see, saying some pretty terrible things about Spencer and myself. Yet at the same time, he has no problem using our seals, using our logos on his website.
Still using
still using them. Since I cut him loose as a member over a month ago now. I know, liar, 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 liar. Ever since I did that, he's released maybe 7 videos on his YouTube channel, and every one of them end with one of my logos showing that he's still a member. So apparently I'm not that terrible if he still wants to be associated with me without without paying for his membership.
And don't
of
forget
which I
about
refunded his last month.
Don't forget about the Lifetime Achievement Award, where he has the actual speech that he made on his website, on one of his websites. And anyone who reads this would be like, I essentially walk on water, according to him, at least at that point.
At that point, yes,
Wow.
which was the short amount of time that he decided not to walk on water. Just
Right.
saying. Anyway, so back to Rich. I looked at your video, and my first gut response on this video, Rich, is this is the one that you posted 2 days ago.
Stop calling the show.
Hair video, fresh from the shower, right before leaving. You have a lot of hair, dude, and your hairline as it stands. I see you're talking about this little. I refer to it as a reverse widow's peak because it's kind of concave right in the center of your hairline. I get that. The rest of your hair, if you came to see me for consult, I'd say, dude, I feel for you, but surgery is not the answer for you right now. You are doing everything right. You're taking your medication. It looks like it's like you got a thick head of hair, like with that part line I'm looking at. It's very dense.
Well,
you have fine hair.
So I think that adds volume.
I'm sorry, it's what?
Oh, sorry, I was just saying, because my hair is naturally very curly, that sort of does create some volume, but I do worry, obviously, that it is still thinning despite being on finasteride since 2014, and
it very well may be, but thinning versus needing surgery are two completely different things, right? I mean, you're doing everything right. You're taking I like the dosage and the frequency you're taking your Proscar. I like the fact that you're taking Proscar, not generic, so you're doing everything right. Well done.
I listened to the show.
God bless you. Like, thank you for that, and I'm glad that you're following what we feel is common sense.
You're one of the
talk.
50 people, according to Dr. Cole. So thank you.
Yeah. But and look, I know this isn't going to change how you feel about your hair, but my honest opinion is that your hair looks fantastic. I see that inverted widow's peak. I can see how that would bug the shit out of you. Your hairline height is really nice. I don't see any sort of questionable density. You got a nice fringe of a transition zone. Your hair is fine overall. So that and the length that you have and that it's curly can lead to the impression that it's actually thinner than it really is because it's so light and fine. It really blows easily in the wind. I think if you had much shorter hair and a tighter haircut, that would make a huge difference for how you feel about your hair. Just a suggestion or just an idea. I'm not even remotely under the impression that you'll do that because your hair looks good as it is. But yeah, I think your hair looks good. And 1,500 grafts, much less 2,000, I think is a lot of hair moved for a situation that doesn't need it, in my view.
Yeah,
you're freezing up, Joe.
Just save it for a later date.
There we go. Am I back? Look
Kind
it's
of
choppy.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, listen, brother, we're going to take
Anyway.
one quick phone call. Someone's trying to call, and then we got to go. But I'm glad you're continuing to listen. We're here for you. If you want to speak, give us a call next week, whatever. It's no rush to have surgery. And luckily, at least according to Joe, you still look good as far as you have enough hair to pull off whatever you're pulling off.
Awesome. Good to hear it.
I wish I had all of my hair. I wish I didn't have to wear hairspray and paint my head. I wish Dr. Cole was correct that I didn't have any hair loss. But, I feel very fortunate that at this stage in my life, I've saved as much as I have using treatment. So, trust me, when I was your age, I was freaking out as to what the future was going to hold. Mm-hmm. So it's very possible, even though you're continuing to thin to some degree, you may be surprised at how long you hold on to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it depends on the day how I feel about it, but I definitely share your perspective at times because it was just earlier I was looking at photos of a guy who I hadn't seen in probably about 5 or 6 years, same age as me, and he's pretty much cue ball now, and obviously looking at where I was 5 years ago, there wasn't that much difference. So it must work. I also got my brother onto the medication. He's 3 years younger than me, and in the year he's been on it, his hairline's definitely thickened up. So
that's great.
I know this stuff works.
Well, listen, good for you. I'm glad your brother's doing well too, and call us whenever you want.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, brother, take care.
Thanks, Rich. Take care.
Take care.
All right, we'll take one quick one, and then we're going to call it a night.
Okay, let's do it.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this, and where are you calling from?
It's Ryan Surratt from Florida. Joe and Spencer, what the fuck was that with Dr. Cole?
I can't explain it.
I have to really talk about this because I know what you guys are going. I could not believe that. I could not believe it. I wanted you guys to hear it from, somebody who's followed the show for a long time, somebody who's contacted Dr. Cole, was thinking about getting a hair transplant, has been called by his assistants for the last year. Dude, what?
His assistants or his son?
Who fucking does that? Yeah, who does something like that, dude? Do you want to implode your business? And the fact that he's attacking you, Spencer, regarding you've never had hair loss, dude, we are your clients. Why would you ever say something like that to someone? I couldn't believe it, man. And also saying that you guys do so much. I mean, I've learned so much from this. Joe, you told me to get on ProScar 6 months ago versus generic, and that's changed my hair. I mean, you guys do really great work. I'm appreciative of all the stuff that you do. I haven't spent any money, and I don't know. I mean, I just don't know where the fuck that comes from, and I think it's really sad.
Well, I appreciate what you're saying.
The thing is that
Joe, why are you freezing? Man? You want to reconnect? What's going on?
Yeah, I'll reconnect. Yeah, do that.
Hold on.
And now something completely different.
What? Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside. Sorry, guys.
I like to think balding is
worries,
just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use...
It's Dr. Cole, man. He's sabotaging it all.
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
Destroy the whole thing, dude.
All right, here we go. That should be fine.
That was hilarious.
There's two settings where I can see myself on camera, and one has the opening. So anyway, I can't fully explain it. All I know is that for many years, there have been ebbs and flows with Dr. Cole where he would. Are you moving, Joe? You're still frozen. It's all right. Where he would. I would get a late night email.
I'll be back.
Essentially saying, hey, I could. Let me just explain how I first met Dr. Cole. I find it interesting that he said that we reached out to him or that I reached out to him. Many years ago, I was living in New York and I was trying to get this information to him while he was on the air with us. But many years ago when I was living in New York, I got a contact from this guy, John Cole, who I heard of in brief, but not really much. And I'm not sure how he got my number. It could have been from one of the doctors I was already working with. And I just launched, or I was just launching the IHRS. But at the time, I had something called the Bald Truth List. It was in my book.
I remember that.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. So it was in the book, and doctors didn't pay to be on the list. There were only 11 doctors who were part of the book. And, I decided, listen, let me give people a fighting chance so that they had, I'm trying to change this camera angle, so that they had, information on doctors that they can possibly go to if they were considering, at the time, follicular unit transplantation. There were only 11 doctors at the time doing it. At that time, to my knowledge, John Cole was not using stereoscopic microscopes. But anyway, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the case because I know that he was working for a large chain clinic. But he contacted me, and he said, the first thing he said to me, he introduced himself, and he said, I could transplant circles around every doctor you have in your book. And I'm just like, all right, nice to meet you, man.
Okay, dude.
And so he wanted to be on the website at the time with thebaldtruth.com where I had the doctors from the book listed. Mm-hmm. When I originally started that list of doctors, I brought them on. I put them on the web, and I had a voluntary fee situation where I said, "Look, we're putting it out there. We're putting this out there on the web. You've been in the book. I'm still gonna we're still gonna promote the fact that you're in the book. But if you can, to support what we're doing, would you be interested in paying this fee?" And it was, at the time, it was substantial. And every single doctor said yes. Not one said no. They're like, absolutely. And so that's kind of how, the IHRS started and all this stuff. So I decided to create the organization. But at that time, John Cole was not part of what we were doing. And I couldn't bring him on until about a year later when we launched the IHRS. We knew that he was using stereomicroscopic dissection. And we also knew that medical hair restoration was bringing microscopes into their practice. And essentially some of the guys that started with us originally said, look, this guy's doing good work. He should be part of things. That's how it all went down. I didn't pick up
I'm just still trying to figure out what he was doing in the 1990s to change the industry. Like, I'm still wondering, like, you didn't even start FUE until 2002. How was he developing techniques and instruments, as he said, in the 1990s that changed the industry? Did I hear that right?
You did hear that, correct. He didn't contact me until 2000. Oh, I think it was 2001, almost 2000. And I had already been in contact with Ray Woods. I already had one of his patients on my show when I was on WOR radio. He wasn't even close to thinking about doing FUE surgery. Didn't even exist in his mind.
He acknowledges in that speech that's because of you that he was doing FUE.
That's true.
That you introduced FUE to the industry.
So, but with all that, to try to answer your question, my only assessment as a human being, I'm not a physician, is there's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah.
That's all I could. That's all I could figure out.
Yeah.
I mean, after listening to that, and I got to say, Joe, I watched your thing and you laid out a really good case, and I was like, is this some internal bullshit spat between, Joe and this doctor, and like, I don't know what the hell this is. Like, this is really detailed and everything. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not really gonna, maybe I'll still go and get my in-person consultation because I'm in Florida, he's in Georgia. Maybe not, I don't know. He's a little pushy and he seems really fucking weird. I mean, and Joe still talks about the fact that he's a great surgeon, and I love that he's not discounting that, but I don't really know if I want this guy kind of attitude. But dude, like, after that, are you out of there's no way that I'm going to let this guy touch my hair. Like, if he's drunk talking to you, what if he's drunk when he comes into surgery? What if, I can't believe that guy still has a license, dude. If you were
keep in mind,
surgeon, you'd be done.
Rich, keep in mind that when he called, it was 8:00 in the evening because he's on the East Coast.
Dude, I mean,
so when did he start? And look, I want to make something really clear here. Like, I have maintained this from the beginning. I have nothing negative to say about the man's surgical skill. He said something interesting when he was throwing all these, whatever accusations. Is that what they were? These I'll say comments.
I don't even know what they were.
And colorful metaphors. He did say one thing that's true. I did have he expounded on it more than he should have. He said, I'm calling his patients to tell them not to have surgery with him. Well, what's interesting is I don't know who his patients are. So how could I do that? Like, if I knew who his patients were, it means that he's sharing his patient list with me, which is violating HIPAA laws.
Yeah.
So, there's that. But there was one patient that I did speak to, and even in this conversation, if that person were to ever share this publicly, I said nothing about Dr. Cole's surgical skill. I did say, based on the patient specifics or his history, because I know his history, I said, I don't think it's a good idea for you to have surgery with him now. I said, maybe give it 6 months to a year to see how things settle down.
Yeah, he's going through some changes. You might want to take a pause,
Exactly. Like, give him some time to cool off, because last thing I'd want as a patient is for a doctor to be working on me. Like there's it's like we're all related somehow in our history. So this patient being on the table, and then a doctor that hates my guts apparently, or loves me, I'm not sure which it is.
He loves you, Joe. He loves both of us.
Is
He wants to marry
making
you and get divorced.
all on the same day.
Exactly.
The minister is also the divorce attorney.
Yeah, exactly.
To actually have incisions being made while he's thinking of the connection between all three of us. Like, I wouldn't want that. And so I shared my opinion with the guy. Not to mention the guy had been calling me anyway. So it's not like I'm actively reaching out to people. But it's, I don't know, the whole thing, it really does sadden me because there was a time when I was working with John, it was actually fun. It was actually fun because it's funny. He was saying that he felt like I had turned over a new leaf or something. I'm thinking to myself, that's exactly what I was thinking when I said we can revisit his membership application.
He dropped you, though.
How ironic.
He dropped you, though, Joe.
Yeah.
He dropped
You sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No,
you
go
guys
ahead.
handle it so well. You guys really do. Like, that was, I would have been like, you're fucking insane. What are you doing, man? Like, are you insane? You just destroyed your career. Like, why are you coming in and attacking us? Like, we're helping people, and you guys do help people. You really do. Like, I appreciate it, man. As I said, I haven't spent any money on this, and at the end of the day, it's my decision what surgeon I go with. I have to go over the consultation. I have to go in there and do it, and to have kind of a preamble to that, even though I haven't gotten surgery, and both you guys, and Joe especially, you were like, hey man, you should wait. Like, and Spencer, you said the same thing. I think I called in last year, and you guys were like, and I was like, look, I'm still getting laid. I'm still happy. I'm not. It's still going.
And look, so, I think this situation, really lays out the truth about hair transplant doctors and why patients need to be careful. Because if you pay attention to what he was saying, he's not been paying attention to what we've been saying.
Yeah,
and it's very clear where he's talking about how we recommend bad doctors. Well, we don't recommend or he's saying promoting. We don't promote doctors.
Yeah.
If anyone's been paying attention, they know that we talk about doctors we think are worth considering. That's actually my specific tagline when I'm doing a video about any doctor that joins my website is I think it's someone that's worth considering.
And look, I founded the IHRS over 20 years ago, and there's not an organization that I know of anywhere in medicine that doesn't charge dues to their physicians to be listed. That's the way it works. I'm sorry that I get it. I'm a layman, and I started this organization. I try to separate the better doctors from all the rest and just try to give people a fighting chance to make the right decision. When they were considering, at least, narrow it down to people who were doing things. It was a lot easier back in the day when it was follicular unit transplantation versus all the rest. There were so few. But that's what it was created for. And it became a society in this field that the world looks to, whether it's, someone practicing in Dubai or in parts of Europe. These medical organizations want to know if you're a member of the IHRS. That's it. I actually, sometimes we have to write letters for physicians who want to practice in Dubai that they are, members or are still accepted into the IHRS. So we developed a real society. Unfortunately for Dr. Cole, his mind has never evolved. He somehow believes that either we're just a website or that we have some sort of recommendation process because he constantly says recommended or promotion. There's no promotion. There's no online consultations in the IHRS. It's like, look, don't have surgery, people.
He said one thing that's very telling, though, and that's something that I think everyone should really pay attention to. You don't hear Spencer and I talking about patients as leads.
Right.
But Dr. Cole was very specific, saying, I get leads, I got leads from you or I'm getting leads from you regardless of what's going on or something. Yeah. It's like the fact that he even talks about patients as things to be bought and sold.
Leads, exactly.
I've never liked that. I never talked like this with my
That's a
with
great
my
point,
doctors.
Joe. That's the first thing that came out of his mind. And he also said that Dr. Zarev had some sort of disdain for me because I had another physician from Bulgaria as an associate member of the IHRS. And he said that Dr. Zarev didn't like that. I mean, think about that. So now it's like, oh, wait a second. You have a territory once you're accepted into an organization? The whole thing is nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so, at the end of the day, dude, being a person that's been contemplating this for the last 20 years, should I do this? Should I do this? I don't want to do it. Meeting with different doctors, trying to figure it out and being like, how long am I going to wait? What's the point? The fact that any of these people would, the way they treat you as being a lead versus like, hey man, you're making a really important decision. And you guys have both said at times that like, if you're going to get a transplant, you better get a good one the first time, because if you want to get more hair transplanted afterwards, if you don't do it right the first time, you're fucked.
That's right.
It's very scary, man, and it's very. I mean, especially for the way that masculinity is these days, and that being a masculine man, and the femininity that's happening in us, and like, this is our thing. Women can get boob jobs and lip jobs and high heels and bras and all kinds of shit. We got our hair, dude. You got your hair, and you can work out. You're not going to change the height. That's it.
Pretty much.
You better start working out, eating right, and you better get your hair. And I'll tell you a story. And this is a quick one.
Sure.
And then I have one other question.
Well, don't say you can't change your height, because your governor is being accused of wearing lifts in his shoes now.
That is true. I saw that. It's ridiculous, dude. You looked ridiculous. I'm like, dude, you're wearing heels, man. Like you could see your shoe.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I was talking to this girl. I live in South Palm Beach, and it's a really beautiful area. But there's a lot of opportunist women here, and they go out with these guys. And this one girl's like, yeah, he's got money. He's flying me to New Orleans. And she's a friend of mine. She's like, but he's bald. And I mean, I don't know. And I'm like, bitch, he's worth $30 million. Like, what do you give a shit? Like that this guy is trying to take care of you, but it's this thing. And I'm going,
how old is
and
she?
she's like, well, he had a tumor. And I was like, I don't even know if what am I, his Make-A-Wish Foundation? And I was like, the vapid, disgusting point of view that you have about this stuff, it's crazy. And
and you're friends with her?
I am friends with her. You know what? I'm friends with her. I've known her for 6 years. It's a waning friendship. I'm definitely on my way out with it. But it's fascinating because I watch, she's gorgeous. And I watch men fawn over her. And they're always like, oh, dude, have you had sex with her? And I'm like, no. And they're like, why? I'm like, dude, she's disgusting, bro.
Yeah,
like,
you're better off, man.
Yeah, she's beautiful. I mean,
you're a smart man.
Yeah, she's a quack, dude. Like, I'm not gonna have sex with a quack. I don't know what's gonna happen.
I live in Beverly Hills. I'm in walking distance of some of the biggest hooker bars, in quotes. That's what I call them. In this town, and I'll sit down. And first of all, if you look normal and you're older, and they think you have money, it's like you are prey.
Yeah,
absolute prey, man. I can't even tell you how many. I got a lot of crazy stories too. But the one thing I've never done is allowed myself to get involved. I ghost these people.
Yeah, man, it ain't worth it.
It's just like, all right, that was fun. Maybe I drank a little too much, and then it's like you ghost them. And then all of a sudden, and if you give them your number and you ghost them, they freak the fuck out. They're texting you like, what happened? Didn't you have a good time? I'm like, yeah, everything's cool. I'm busy.
Yeah.
And that's it. And they can't comprehend that, especially when they're like a smoke show.
So many questions. So many questions.
Yeah. It's
many questions.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I did want to bring up one other thing, though, because I know you guys are probably closing up shop and everything. And I did want to say, I don't know if you guys have followed this, and I don't know if somebody's brought it up on the channel before, but there's a really, I like watching his stuff. There's a guy named Kevin who has a channel called Hair Cafe. and he does a lot of
Kevin Mann, is that his last name?
Kevin Mann. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
Kevin
guys do
Mann.
know about him.
I
haven't
heard about him in a while.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I don't know how much you guys follow his stuff, but he does these really in-depth things. He's a big proponent of finasteride. I've told him actually, like, hey man, can you talk about a lot of the other stuff? But one of the things that I would love for you guys, since you guys are so knowledgeable, I would like to hear you guys talk to him. I don't know if he even does that. I don't know if you guys would want to do it, but I think it'd be really fascinating because there's so much different types of information that I feel like you guys could talk about. And I don't know what the topic would be or whatnot.
Look,
but,
man, I'm always open to anything in life. As long as they're good people.
Oh, okay.
I look at it being like I'd have to catch my breath every 10 seconds because he speaks so fast. It's like, how the fuck does he process this shit?
Well, if I could be candid, I know I should pay more attention to this stuff because this is what I do, but I'm kind of like I come from a different world, you know, and I started doing this for so long ago that if I pay too much attention to what's going on online, it almost becomes a distraction as opposed to being able to focus on what we do, especially all the stuff behind the scenes. But I have seen, I don't even think I've seen 2 full videos of his, but what I've seen is like I could see why young guys are compelled to watch him, 100%. Yeah. And I like the fact that he's like pro medication. He seemed to have, at least in this one thing that I saw, he looks pretty built, like he takes care of himself, right? Like he's a bodybuilder or something?
He works out all the time. What he does a lot, what I like about it is he doesn't, like if somebody comes up and they're like, oh, eat broccoli for hair growth or do massage, he will get into all the scientific studies, and he'll break them down.
He's a really, and I hope if he's listening, and he shouldn't take this in the spirit that's meant, because, you know, there's like more plates, more dates. Who's like the ultimate bro science guy who, you know, bro science isn't necessarily a terrible thing, especially if you understand how to, you know, gather the right information, understand how to, I guess, digest it, and then put it out there for public consumption in a lucid way. I think it could be very positive. And more plates, more dates. I mean, he's famous for that. And from what I've seen from this guy, Kevin Mann, he does a good job as well. But I'm just being candid. You know, if he's listening, and I don't want anyone to think that it's disrespectful, I don't pay enough attention to really know what a conversation with him would be like. But I'm open to anything. I mean, it's a show. It's fun. Like, we let this guy, this alleged drunk doctor, call in.
Yeah, it was great.
Allegedly drunk doctor.
No, he was definitely drunk.
That's good. That's good.
Well, anyway, guys, I really appreciate it. You know, I do want to drive that point home. Like, it's wonderful what you guys do. I don't give a shit whether you're being compensated, not being compensated. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm here for the information.
It matters to me.
I know, and that's what I appreciate. But
I spent a lot of time working on this stuff. Like, I need to get paid for this.
Yeah.
No one does this shit for free.
Exactly. And you guys need to make a living. But I think more importantly to me is like, oh, okay, this is a good source of information. These guys are entertaining. They answer questions in a very informative way, and they're trying to help, you know? And I think to me that's like,
thank you.
Dude, I you know, that's appreciative because I can go down to my dermatologist and say, hey, what do you think? And he's like, I don't know, you can take it. Sure, take some pills. Like, we don't, I've heard this pill.
Yeah, but listen, but in all
honesty,
honesty, like, you know, Dr. Cole cares about patients and we don't, apparently.
Oh, bullshit, dude.
You know?
That guy, I hope that guy's, honestly, man, like, I hope his shit ends. Like, that's pathetic. Anybody who gets drunk like that and gets on a phone call on a radio show to berate people and say liar, liar, pants on fire, dude, and obviously is working on patients on a Friday and is drunk. Like, dude, get the fuck out of here, man.
He may have to see patients. He may have to see patients tomorrow. I know the guy works on the weekends at times. I mean, who knows? I mean, and listen, I mean, it's possible that he has, he has all these different. He has these devices, these like, fat sculpting, M-Sculpt and stuff like that. I'm not even sure if he runs that himself,
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's possible that he just has some unlicensed person running these things. I don't know. But look, it's unfortunate, But I think that it really, and I think it's good that we allowed him on and gave him his time to speak like we did his son. It underscores the reality that these are human beings. And in any profession, you know, there are loose cannons, there's fucked up people, there's people who abuse drugs and alcohol, you know, and you guys kind of had a glimpse of the reality of this industry.
Yeah.
And it's not pretty. But it goes, this is not just, it's all of medicine. There are John Coles in every, almost, I don't know, I mean, that's maybe extreme, but people like John Cole in every discipline of medicine.
Yeah. Reminds me of that Denzel Washington movie, Flight, when he goes, I was drunk that morning. I'm drunk right now. It's like, dude, these people are, you know, we don't know what's going on, and it just goes to show, you know, proceed with caution. And I think that the more information that someone like myself can get, especially from you guys and from whether it be Hair Cafe or you guys or like, you know, Matt Dominance or whoever else that, you know, is good that kind of goes, okay, I'm going to do some in-depth reviews of this stuff. It helps us. And, you know, we appreciate it. So
Well,
I say that on behalf of everybody else.
I
you know,
appreciate you
it
saying
makes
that,
it through.
and we appreciate you, and I'm glad that we've been able to help you.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right,
you, guys.
brother. Thanks for the call.
Have
Thanks
a
for
great
calling.
night.
All right, you too.
Take care, Rich.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Hey, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, that was a show for the books.
I cannot lie. That was the most shocking episode in our history.
Well, here's the thing. If he believed that I somehow shut down the volume or I potted down his son's volume, his son actually took the time to be quiet and listen a little bit.
Yeah.
But you were able to hear his phone throughout the entire thing. This guy really didn't give us that opportunity. Now, I could have potted him down and systematically dismantled him. I mean, I know his entire history, his real history, and it's all in writing. Oh, we have all the receipts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's stupid.
This guy just
It's all
this guy
documented.
just
It's all
this
in
guy
print.
just projects and makes up, I mean, insane shit. Insane stuff. Not just about us. I mean, what he says about us is almost laughable compared to what he has said about his colleagues publicly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do? You're going to damage the guys that give people free advice? Good luck.
Good luck.
You know? I've been doing this for almost 30 years. You're punching way out of your league, man. That destroying me and making me live in poverty like you wrote publicly, that ship has sailed, my man. And not sound obnoxious, but you know, I'm a 58-year-old man.
But you know what? He doesn't give a shit.
Dude, don't make me play the banjo.
La 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 la.
Dude, that was unbelievable.
I
mean, I hope someone online makes something out of that. Because that was fucking unbelievable.
Some sort of meme.
You know, I said this, I was trying to get this across, but I'm telling you, I don't know his childhood history, but I would bet that he had no adult male in his life. And I'm not a psychologist, but he has a very feminine way of responding to the world and to life. And that's not a bad thing. There's
again,
women. What do you say?
You're just trying to get him to call back again, aren't you? I ain't no feminine. Who you called a feminine?
Don't do that. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say.
To say that I'm effeminate, as it should be properly stated, is just factually incorrect. It's more along the lines of being masculinity challenged.
That's very astute of you.
It's very astute of you, Mr. Coburn.
That was fucking classic, man. And this is what he's going to say in his group or whatever, that we somehow manipulated that audio, which is live right now, or it'll be in a second.
Well, it is now. It's already replaying. For those that didn't tune in early, no, actually, people catching now. We're still live streaming, but he'll probably say that we blocked his call, or we blocked him somehow, and then he'll claim that his audio was cut off because you kept speaking to the microphone, trying to make him look bad. Like I'm just spitballing all the things that he's going to say.
Well, he said that we turned down the volume on his kid and we attacked his kid, which I thought we were both pretty, again, if we wanted to systematically dismantle his kid, he was really not prepared to make that call. That would have been easy.
No, that would have been, really unfair. I didn't want to do that with him.
Yeah.
He was just trying to defend his dad. But then, of course, now I'm worried for my life because he might shoot me.
And we realize now that they're, pretty, anti-Semitic before it became as fashionable as it is right now.
Exactly. The timing is uncanny.
It really is.
Like a week before.
Well, that's why I asked him if I'm like, I was surprised he called. I thought he'd be like a pro-Hamas rally.
I was going to say, I think there's one this weekend in New York. So that's why he's there. He flew to New York for the pro-Hamas rally. Broader bone 60, just like Crocodile Dundee, there's a little Dr. Cole in all of us. At 8 o'clock at night? No.
And I just want to put it out there that I have no problem with having a drink. You've seen me get a little loaded in my life, Joe, but I'm not going to text anybody or call a talk show.
That's rich, man. That's like,
I'll play some pool, hang out, talk some shit, have some fun.
Hats off to the balls to call in.
That's what you call drunk dialing, though, man.
That's drunk dialing, though. Yeah.
That was just like this drunken hubris.
Mike Pedroza says, Joe Spence, what's going to happen when you guys see him face to face? I'll tell you what, I actually thought about that because I'm going to see him at some point. I go to conferences sometimes. And he
knows, but he knows he couldn't handle me physically. Sorry.
Well, he probably couldn't handle me physically either because, like, come on.
I wasn't
have
putting
you seen
you down. I was speaking for myself.
He's like a year ago or 2 years ago, he was actually looking really fit. Like he was working out. It looked like he was working out. Now he's looking kind of ashen, and I don't know what's going on. But to answer the question, what would happen is I'd laugh at him. But I don't even know if he's going to be at conferences anymore because, as far as I'm concerned, he's most likely persona non grata at this point. Like
at least according to the physicians who contact us, he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to be speaking at a conference, I think, in Rome. I don't think that rug's going to be pulled out from under him. But it's going to be a difficult road given the way that he's publicly expressed himself.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, there's so many things we could talk about.
Fuck him. What do we care? It's, it was good radio.
That was great radio.
It
was great radio.
It's one for the books. All right, guys, we're gonna get going. Thank you for tuning in. We had a stellar turnout today, by the way. Numbers really flew up.
Carolina C says, not ashen. With a crying, laughing face. What does that mean, Carolina? And good to see you, by the way. And I got your DM. Thank you for that. But what do you mean, not ashen? He looks ashen. He looks unwell. Nick, he's definitely on TRT. One time he was on the show. He's telling everyone they needed 1,000 tests. I remember that actually. Yeah. Don't go to conferences. Conferences come to me, Dr. Cole. You win the internet today.
That is hilarious.
David Hutton. I don't go to. Hang on.
Yeah.
I don't go to conferences. Conferences come to me. Dr. Cole. That was fucking hilarious.
But did you hear what he was saying about how everyone just wants to, the only reason people wanted to be a part of what we do, I think, was because he was a part of it, or I forget what he said.
He elevated the other doctors on the IHRS because he was a recommended doctor.
It's just the whole thing is just so unbelievable, and it's a little frightening, yet it's really entertaining. I don't know how to feel about it.
Narcissistic personality disorder does exist. It is a thing. Anyway, I think that's good for today.
Yeah, he'll spin it somehow, and I guess it's at a point now where no one's really listening to him except for one or two people whose first language is not English.
That's actually a very good point because of his manipulation of the English language.
I don't know what that means.
I'll say it like that.
We're going to go. All right, guys. Until next time, be strong. God bless. And thank you all so much for listening. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the programme. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you.